All right, everyone. Good morning, good evening, good night, wherever you are, however little sleep you've had, because I know I've had zero. I'm Andrew Esquire, and this is the Legal Mindset, where we help you be your own judge. Today, we're going to have a great episode today. We're going to recap a little bit of what happened. I'm going to go over some interesting developments from TMZ, which is really a huge update here in the case here. And also just give a little bit of my opinion on where we're at and how Amber Heard's last moves, her final moves, went for her side of the defense. And we can just start with that. Let's just go right into what I was leading with. Let's go right into the title. And honestly, I expected witnesses today. I expected at least one or two witnesses. Why would you delay resting your case and waiting a whole nother day just to say in the beginning, you know what? We're done after all. Well, I think a lot of this is a strategy to make Johnny sweat. And we'll get into that. What's up, people in the chat? I see everybody here today. Shane Souza, Jordy Walker. What's up, Jordy? Good to see you in the chat. Chibi Peach, what's up? How's it going? Dakota Dreyer, how's it going? Analytics on the web. Good to see you. Harry Zikos, what's going on? Raging Fury. Dan, how's it going? Nessie, what's up? Fat Elvis, Low Pro, good to see you. When is your dark alter ego illegal mindset going to make an appearance? So that's my separate channel, but I haven't really launched it yet. But I will definitely be putting content on there, especially after the trial. I'll tell you that, guys. Right now, I'm eating, sleeping, breathing, shitting this trial. Literally. When I sit on that porcelain throne, I am dropping Amber turds. It's 100% on brand throughout this trial. Got people from Paraguay, all over the U.S. here. Wisconsin. I know we got some from Texas here. Got some from Kansas. See some Floridians in the chat. Good to see you guys wherever you're at in the world. 502 of you already in here. So guys, as you're coming in, as you're wandering in from across the web, please make sure to smash that like button. It really helps us in the algorithm and really helps us get that information out there and spread it as the mainstream media tries to spread misinformation. Mexican Iron Man, thank you so much for becoming a YouTube member. Thank you so much. Hopefully we can have some chats on other channels about different topics or similar topics, because see, guys, as we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk a lot about topics some of which are not directly legal. And I know there's other channels that say, oh, we're just arguing the law. We're just sitting here and arguing the law. But guess what? A lot of things that aren't legal find their way into the courtroom. We're going to talk about that. We're definitely going to get into that. But thank you so much for becoming a member. Now you have access to all the emojis, the soju, the toilet, Adam, Andrew, the cat girls, and the vampire girl as well. We've got one super chat already in. Yeah, from Harry Zikos, $4.99. Like the video, guys. This is gold. Yes, thank you so much, my Greek brother. All right. So that being said, there's a couple things I want to jump into right away. But before I get too crazy, before I go too far, I want to show you guys a little photo that somebody sent me. And it's a little somebody that was on the stand the other day. And there were a lot of questions when she was on the stand of her mental state, her general state. Well, I'll let you guys decide. How does Whitney look in the galley today? I, if she's looking a little intoxicated. S, if you think she's completely sober, guys. So this isn't even, you know what's funny? This isn't even a meme. This is reality, Sandra. This is reality. So you had her here. This is a screen cap. This isn't even a meme, guys. It's just a screen cap. So if you think she's looking a little intoxicated, S for sober. Just want to see the little poll in the chat here. All right. So Dylan says S. So maybe Dylan, you think that's her resting sober face. Okay. She looks toxic. There you go. Okay. Got more eyes though in the chat. Burst of Beauty with an eye. Joy with an eye. Danielle with an eye. Eye. Shiki says drugs. Leanne's got an eye. Okay. I think the eyes have it. The eyes have it. We've got a couple S's. Let me call out the S's here. We got one stupid painting by Dave. But Yeah, the eyes definitely have it. Although I like this other option of dropping a grumpy. That is always a possible option. All right, guys. So we had a lot go down today. We had a lot of good witnesses today. We had Hamada, and let me point out one overall arc here throughout all the witnesses today. They were very concise. They were very targeted. They were very on point. They got to the point quickly, and they got in and got out. I like the way they're doing rebuttal. It's very, very, very quick. They're coming in, they're hitting the points they want, and they're getting out. Perfect. I think it was outstanding. And they got several witnesses on the stand today, and they would just go in, get what they want, and get out in terms of Johnny's team. Now, I believe that with several of the witnesses, Amber's team on cross ended up playing themselves. So we had the big witnesses, I would say today. We had Hamada from Warner Brothers and Marx, the entertainment lawyer, who literally is my senpai here. And and I was talking about this a little bit on Ricada. But that guy, Marx, he totally reminds me of a former partner that I used to have at one of my law firms. So on all of the Universal deals, because I represented Universal Studios in Orlando, not for everything, but for certain types of issues, it would be handled by this same attorney. And he was just like Marx. He knew exactly what he was talking about. He came in with the facts and figures, and he had stories for days. So you knew just looking at him, he was entirely legit. And another guy who I sometimes bring on and who is entirely legit, it's my good friend Valiant Renegade. Valiant, how's it going?
Good to see you. Good to be back. Good to see everybody out there again. I feel like by the time we wrap this show up tonight, I will have spent probably 6 to 7 of the last 24 hours with you. It occurred to me. I was like,
I am so sleep deprived. It is ridiculous. But I thank you so much for hanging out with me and for
thanks for inviting.
It with me.
It's a great week.
You were just over with Midnight's Edge, right? On his channel?
I was over at Midnight's Edge. Matter of fact, Yellow Flash popped in just as I had to pop out to come here. Cool. And Flash did mention he may try to stop by here a little later on. So I don't know if you want to send him a link or something.
Yeah, I'm going to send Flash a link. Let's see. So I'll send Flash a link. So while I'm doing that, though, let me read this one, by the way. Binge on spicy wings, soy sauce or not, umbrella. I don't know what the umbrella. I mean, is the umbrella for Tug? Because Tug definitely, by the way, hero of the day today is Tug. I think Tug got the most shout outs of anyone on the internet today. Which was grand, which was absolutely grand. But okay. While I'm pulling this up and while I'm sending stuff over to Flash, can you give everybody your general outtake on the witnesses today? Just your general view on over 30,000 foot on all the witnesses that came out today.
30,000 foot view. Boy, oh boy. I think I told you this morning as I was leaving the early show that I said my witness that I was looking forward to the most today was Walter Hamada. He did not disappoint. Richard Marx did not disappoint. Absolutely just massacred Amber's quote unquote expert entertainment industry witnesses that were there specifically to add credence to her counterclaim against Johnny about her financial damages, to which they gave very ambiguous answers to, with some incredibly questionable metrics on how they derived these financial numbers. And for those of you out there who maybe don't know me, I've been working in the financial industry for nearly 20 years, and I kind of my motto is on my channel, I put Hollywood through the business and financial lens of reality, right? So I'm listening to their testimony from Amber's people, and I'm like scratching my head, going, okay, but where's the actual numbers? Where's the methodology? And that just got blown to hell and back today. I mean, I had moments that I was laughing so hard listening to this while I'm trying to do my regular day job that I was almost coming out of my chair.
I feel like this is the several days for you. This is your story for several days. It's not like you're trying to do your work. You're sitting there at your office, you're in your cubicle, and this is like a common story. I feel like this is like everybody's story here. You're the everyman here who's trying to do their work. They've got this in. Normally the trial is kind of demure. It's kind of maybe a little bit like boring. But today, it's just there's so many moments where just over and over again you're losing it. Over and over again, there's moments that are drawing you in. Over and over again, there's moments where you're like, did Elaine seriously just do that to herself? Like, did she just own herself again?
Yeah. Hamada just wrecked things right off the bat. And when we get to that, I'll talk about it because I love the way they set that up.
Okay, so let's be really clear. For those guys who don't know, who haven't been watching and haven't seen Valiant on my other streams, first of all, what are you doing? Watch all my other streams. Second of all, we've been saying this for now, I think probably the last 48 hours. We've been talking about Walter Hamada. We've been talking about the actual facts, the actual figures behind Amber Heard, the economics that she's trying to claim, the level of damages, the $100 million in damages, how that's completely unrealistic. And so when we actually saw today that testimony come in and ultimately back up what we all knew, it was very validating. And frankly, I expected Hamada. We talked about Hamada, but to me, Marx, the attorney, was the cherry on top. I mean, that was just absolutely glorious. And he was saying what everybody was thinking. And by the way, I was on with Ricada, and DUI guy popped on, and he made it very clear that people were paying attention to both of those experts. They were paying attention to Hamada, but they were paying attention to Marx. He got the most attention of the day. Just paying attention to him. They were leaning forward. They were listening. They were like engaged. So they were really hooked with him, unlike with Amber's side. And these are people that were tuned out for Amber's side and were hooked for Marx, which is a huge juxtaposition.
He's very charismatic, and you wouldn't think a guy in his profession that does what he does would be so charismatic. You'd expect more of a, I mean, he definitely is a bulldog, no question, but he's an incredibly likable bulldog, especially as he's able to deliver. Obviously, his experience roster is ridiculous, and his knowledge, and he can come up with facts. He knows the numbers. He knows how things work. The difference between him on cross versus Catherine Arnold on cross yesterday was just night and flipping day.
Yes.
He was able to answer the cross.
Were you surprised that he went after? Were you surprised that he went after Catherine Arnold? I mean, because honestly, I thought he might make one or two remarks, but he went in on her.
The moment he hit the stand, the first question, and this was my comment, he whipped it out and slapped her with it. I mean, there was no holds barred. I mean, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't know. She didn't bring this. She didn't bring facts. This is her analysis is just wrong. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but not by much. I mean, he was definitive in the fact that her testimony was pure BS. I was just sitting there going, ching.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was saying yesterday, listening to her. I think we talked about this last night. Is just, I'm listening to this and I'm like, I'm just a stupid YouTuber and I know better. She wasn't coming up. And again, because I do a lot of financial numbers, data analysis. So I'm looking for numbers, right? Show me proof, show me numbers. And she was just kind of pulling pie in the sky together to get to this. And then of course, when she said she was working on it for 3 years and got paid $60,000, and I'm like, for that? Damn, I'm in the wrong business.
For nothing. For absolutely nothing. I think I think this is the right cue. So I want to play just a little bit of it just to see, just so everybody sees it. But I'll get this beforehand. Jade99 says, the bottle story angers me. As anyone pointed out, the actual bottle didn't cut JD's finger. It looks as if the table is what actually made the cut when smashed. That's why the nail is intact. That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, right? I mean, frankly, does it really matter what cut the finger as long as the finger was cut, right? Amber Heard took the action, the finger was cut, end of story, there was damage to the finger, his finger was messed up. That was not closing a door on his finger. That was not, his finger getting caught in a door. That does not happen.
Whether it was the bottle itself or the sheer force and mass behind that bottle being projected at his hand that then smash it against the bar, it's still the bottle.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Either way, it's the bottle. And the whole thing, the way the law works is that distinction is a distinction without a difference. So this whole, it wasn't one thing, it was the other. Okay, well, you caused it, you put it into action, right? You threw the bottle. If the bottle hit the table and the table was the thing that broke, you still caused that. But for your action, there'd be no injury.
Yeah.
So without that, that's called proximate cause, guys. So there's a famous case about, a railroad train and fireworks and all this other crap that ended up in some crazy injury. There's a point at which injuries get so remote and so crazy that you don't get to collect on them. But this is what we call foreseeable. Mm-hmm. When you throw a bottle at somebody, you expect there could be an injury, right? Maybe you don't know the nature of the injury, but you've got to expect there can be an injury. So let me play this for you guys over here. This is Marx, and I just want to play just a little bit of his testimony in case you missed it. Just a little refresher, guys, because I think we all can use a little refresher here with some of this testimony.
Test part in a test option agreement.
The test significance is that an established actor usually wouldn't test. They'd be offered the role. Ms. Heard was in a group of actors that needed to be tested to see if the studio wanted to hire them. And then if they hired them, they would be locked up for potentially 4 movies at very lucrative increases, because after Aquaman 1, she gets to $1 million. Aquaman 2, she gets to $2 million. And Aquaman 3, you get to $4 million. These are unheard of bumps if you're going on a normal career and trying to increase your salary by increments.
Okay, so let's talk about that real quick. So, because I think like breaking this down with you is interesting. And yes, Catherine Arnold's daddy. I love it. I love it. I love it.
My name is Richard Marx. I've been around a while. I did a deal on a movie you might have heard of. It's called Star Wars. In the 1960s, I wrote the NDA for Marilyn Monroe so she could blow JFK in the Oval. And in case you didn't know, when I was in 3rd grade in the year 1215, I wrote a document. You might have heard of it called the Magna Carta.
150%, bro. Oh man, that cracks me up. So with that part, he mentions the option. So let's talk about this real quick. So one thing that I just can't get over is how options work. I talked a little bit about this with Nick, but I just want to hammer this home, guys. Understand, with an option. So let's say that I say, okay, I'm giving Valiant Renegade an option to star in the Legal Mindset extended universe, right? We're going to have Legal Mindset 1, Legal Mindset Strikes Back, and Return of the Mindset, right? We're going to have 3 ones. It's going to be 1, 2, and 4, right? And if I say, okay, you're in number 1, you're in number 1, right? Number 1, you've got everybody. And I've got an option for 2 and 3. The person who gets to choose whether or not to exercise that option, whether or not to bring you back, is not the actor or actress. Mm-hmm. It's the studio. And all of that, that option is completely, it's a 0 until they decide it's a 1 or a 2 or a
Andrew,
4.
could we consider that to be a pledge?
Yes.
Sorry, folks.
Yes.
I'll be here all week. No.
It really, seriously though, it is a nothing burger until they, and I've used that word a lot, but it really is until they, it's my favorite word during this trial, especially when Elaine gets up and does something. I'm like, what is this? Like, this literally did nothing at all.
What, if anything, did your cross-examination accomplish?
Speaking of which, actually, let me pull something up real quick, guys, because I did a thing here. If you go, well, actually, I'll talk about this in a second. But okay, so with these options, the potential for collection is 0. And what I wish they would have asked him, and they didn't ask him, is how often do you think that studios have an option on somebody and they choose not to exercise that option? I think it's very common. I think that in a lot of these movies, especially superhero movies, there's got to be a bunch of characters they exercise an option on, and they don't know whether or not they're going to use them in that particular movie. For example, throughout the Marvel movies, Robert Downey Jr., he wasn't in every single Marvel movie, but I'm sure they had an option where if he showed up, they had to pay him.
Oh yeah, Robert Downey Jr.'s contracts were fairly notorious. I mean, initially, I think he was under. I think his first might have been for 2 or 3 films, but then as the popularity grew, I know at one point he was optioned for a 5-picture deal, and he got every one of them. Obviously, in fact, one of the ones that Marvel Studios had to burn him on was for that first Spider-Man film when Sony brought in Tom Holland, because of course Spider-Man is still a Sony property in terms of the film rights. So if I remember correctly, part of the deal basically was that Disney had to pay RDJ his $50 million and then give him to Sony for that film. So yes, that happens all the time. Now, one of the things that would have been interesting about that, and whether options are often exercised or not, does, at least in part, often have to do with the financial success of a film. So it could have been argued that if that question had been asked, well, yeah, it would have been an option, but they could have said, well, okay, Aquaman made $1.1 billion thereabout. Okay, well then wouldn't that portend that they would have certainly optioned her for the second one? Well, you would think probably so, but I think that's why that level of testimony goes hand in hand perfectly with what Walter Hamada said. And because that would have blown the option argument apart, which he did.
Right.
So it's kind of there's a duality there. You need to kind of put those two testimonies together to still blow up the argument, which they did, just in the reverse. They had Hamada first and then Marx come in.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you have anything unexpected that Hamada said or that Marx brought up that you did not expect them to mention?
Mark's pretty, like I said, the degree to which he went after Catherine Arnold was a surprise. I wasn't surprised that he challenged her testimony. Obviously, that's why he was there. I didn't expect him to just take out the hammer and pound on her for 30 minutes while he was up there, whatever it was.
Right.
As far as Hamada goes, I don't think he said anything that I was too surprised by, except for, well, there was one thing. So, but I mean, I like the whole point of the fact that they did their motion to dismiss Amber's counterclaim, which I think they knew that was going to get denied. I think they kind of went in there with that. And then as soon as the judge denied it, they brought the jury in. The first person they put up there was Walter Hamada. Okay, you don't want to deny it? Fine. We'll just go ahead and crap can this whole idea that she was ever going to get another or a renegotiated contract. Hamada said, they asked him, was she under contract for Aquaman 2? Yes. Did she get paid her $2 million? Yes. Was she going to be able to renegotiate her contract going forward? No, we don't do that. What did I say the other night? They said they would not have done that. So Hamada confirmed that. And then what I found interesting, they tried to go after, they said, hey, was this Waldman comment, did that have any factoring into your decision to cut Amber Heard down from the original draft of the script to the 6th draft of the script, or whatever he said, it was 6 or 7 drafts? No. Why did you cut her down? They went to the question of her chemistry with Jason Momoa on screen.
Yes,
and
yes,
if there wasn't,
that was great.
If
that was so great. So I'm glad you brought that up. Their chemistry.
Oh God! If they hadn't just financially decimated her on her counterclaim argument, which Hamada effectively did, he shut that counterclaim down. No, we hadn't. There was nothing out there. There was nothing concrete written down. There was no. Then he goes further, and then he personally punches at her career, which was freaking amazing. No, she didn't have any chemistry. Well, she got rave reviews and all this kind of, from some places. And then he goes so far as to say, well, there's a lot of things that we can use in movie magic, was the words he chose. There's a lot of things in post-production. So he basically admitted everything in Aquaman 1 that they had to do extra work in editing and post-production to try to give the illusion that they had some degree of chemistry on screen, when in actuality they had none. And what's important about that is, if there's no chemistry there, they don't want to recast another actor that they know they're going to have to spend more money on post-production to fix the problems with. So this whole, she would have gotten $4 million and then $8 million and all this. Hamada shot that to pieces because he was basically saying they were already eyeing the fact that they were either probably going to replace her character or just not use her character, or at least not on screen with Momoa, because there just wasn't anything working there. I couldn't believe it. I mean, he blew her career to smithereens with that one.
Yeah. And I think the fact that the fact that they can not only create it, but the fact that there were several other actresses that potentially could have generated that chemistry. I mean, everyone posts the meme of I can't think of anyone who would have better chemistry, and then Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones, right?
Oh, that would have been great.
That would have been great.
They already had the chemistry.
But it's sort of like the legal standard for pornography. And this is the actual legal standard, guys. I'm not making this up. But the legal standard for pornography that one justice of the Supreme Court used was, you know it when you see it, right? Or rather, it's just, you know it when you see it. You know what's porn, you know what's not porn, you know when you see it, right? Yep. And it's not wrong, right? You know chemistry when you see it. You can tell when an actor and an actress, or nowadays it's two actors or two actresses in any case. But the point is, you can tell when two people have chemistry and when they don't, especially in a romantic sense. Pastor Flash says, discount that umbrella man is here. He is not the discount. He is the premium version, just the Louisiana version, right? The Louisiana version. Thank you for that one, though. We got the one about the bottle story. Hold on. Vanessa Beard says, has anyone pointed out the bottle in the supposed essay has 0 blood in it? Didn't she say she was bleeding? Did he clean blood? The essay, this is where the essay doesn't hold up. There's no proof at all of the essay. So it's assuming that the bottle was like thrown away or something else. I mean, once again, there would be, in a real scenario, there would be a rape kit involved. I shouldn't have said that. Well, whatever. There would be a essay kit. There would be a, criminal investigation. There'd be police going over. They'd be looking for other factors. So the fact that we don't have any of that makes that bottle scene sound really bad. Second of all, she wouldn't have been dancing the next day. That just wouldn't have been a thing. Ben King said a chunk was out of the bar. He said it 2 times when he testified about going down the stairs to find the finger. Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean,
I don't remember that one.
I mean I'm saying, like, if there's a chunk out of the bar, well, then there you go. I mean, at a minimum, either the bar could have been the damage, or the impact was so severe that it took a piece out of the bar and his finger.
I mean, the bottoms. I think the testimony was that she threw. It was a 1.75. It was the big bottle, not like the little.
Threw
bottle.
A handle, right?
Handle, a 175
right?
liter. Yeah, a 175 liter, a handle. She threw that. I mean, the bases of those things pretty damn heavy. You get a good clock on those things, and especially when it will smash against another solid surface. If your hand is in between. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be pretty. So yeah, I mean, if there's evidence that there was a chunk out of the bar and there was shattered bottle glass everywhere of a vodka bottle, well, that pretty much tells you what you need to know. Yeah.
Milas 3D says the best moment today was when the witness that said Waldman and umbrella guy talking sounded like schizophrenic. Oh my God. The trailer park guy, which, by the way, that place was no trailer park. That place was a luxury. It was glamping. It was not what you think of when you think of a trailer park. It had $70 light bulbs.
As soon as what he said what it was, I knew what it was because I've seen those. They're like, in your words, it's a very bougie thing. It's like an eclectic. Yes. It's they do high end, and let me tell you, those old 50s and 60s silver Airstreams cost a fortune now. The vintage ones, it's like a Porsche.
It's very, very Instagrammable, right? It's very picturesque. You can definitely get some photos there, right? It's kind of cool. It is definitely not, it's fake bohemian, right? You're not actually roughing it. You're not actually living this poverty life. You're glamping. You're out there in the nicest of the nice, but it has a facade of a trailer park.
I do have a question on that guy, though, Andrew, for you.
Sure. How much soy did he put in his latte? I don't know.
Well, no. Have you ever seen in your entire professional career an actual walking, talking bottle of Chardonnay take the stand and actually testify? Because that guy was something else, man.
Oh man, I'm
glad he was there. He was great for Team Depp, but man, he was. I think even Ricada was making something. Is like every time he says a word, I feel closer to vegan.
I love it. No, I really do. I really did think that. I was like, man, this guy is like the stereotype. Like literally, he's walking, he's talking, he's living all those stereotypes right now. Capricious says, now I need to see a clip of Andrew singing "Return of the Mindset" to the tune of "Return of the Mech." I do actually like that song a lot. So maybe that'll happen, man. Maybe that'll happen. Like depends on how well this trial goes. Maybe I am singing by the end of this one. Let's see. Knaps here says, Need Eps says, love your morning show, bruh. Greetings from Utah. What's up? Greetings to you and like your Hellsing avatar. That's pretty cool. Hellsing's one of my favorite animes. The manga was good too. Let's see. Virtual Loner says Depp should be awarded at least $7 million, and he should donate, not pledge, half to the CHLA and half to the DV Survivors Charity for Men. That'd be a Chad move to give the money to the charities, at least one of the charities that was stood up by Amber Heard, right?
Oh, Children's Hospital Los Angeles. Is that what it means?
Yeah, so that's one of the ones that she stood up, right? Yeah. I would say definitely don't give it to the ACLU because they hate men and they hate, they were an advocate against you. But I would say this, so rerouting that to half to DV survivors to provide a charity support for men. I would say, you know what he could also do? He could just make his own charity for men, right? The Depp Men's Charity, organization. I think putting his name behind a charity for men and to bring like this issue to light would be so powerful. Would be so powerful. Juan says, I turned 42 today. This was the best B-Day gift I could have. Yes, this is kind of like Christmas come early.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, so yes, definitely happy birthday to you. Breezy says, no lawyer, but he definitely wins off the SA claim alone, right? Plus, if the jury finds she's willing to lie about that and then lays the foundation for her lying about everything else, I think we're building a case where we're seeing more and more evidence that she's lying, but it is possible for them to win off SA alone. So the SA claim and that being defamation is enough for Johnny to prevail. So that alone is enough. I mean, just hands down. So just understand that. So they can win off that, Breezy. Bets on the Back Road says Amber Heard has an overinflated ego. JM was the reason people went to see the movie. Jason Momoa, especially women. They underestimated the audience. So I think Marx also did a fantastic job of disassembling the Momoa comparison. I mean, he brought up a lot of the points we brought up. It's a different career trajectory. He mentioned Game of Thrones, but that actually got struck. He mentioned it explicitly, but that one got struck. But here's the thing. In that case, the jury already heard it. So whether it's struck from the record or not, as we say, the bell has already been rung. You can't unring the bell. So despite the fact that it was struck, they heard it. It's out there. And also they went on to mention that he was in several TV series, but we all know which TV series that Jason Momoa was in. It was Game of Thrones.
Yeah, so, and I mean that jury's, I think, average age is young enough to where they all know that show, and they, I don't think they said anything they didn't. They probably just reminded them of it, which was helpful, and that's all you need.
But let me ask you one thing, as a finance guy. I mean, do you think from a financial standpoint, from a career trajectory, the cross-examination, Amber Turd's team, they made a big deal about the superhero aspect. Now I understand there were some Marx did make some distinctions, and it seems like with the accountant maybe made some distinctions as well. But to you, is there a big distinction with superhero, especially Marvel or DC superhero versus other movies? Like what do you think about that?
Not in the sense that if it's another movie that think of production budgets, and Marx brought this up today correctly, which I don't think Catherine addressed at all yesterday. The production budgets of these films is what tends to matter, and then what rank position you have in these films. So if you have an Aquaman with 150, I don't know what Aquaman 2's budget is. Let's say it's about 150. Warner Brothers tends to spend a little bit less than Marvel, which Marvel's typical MCU fare is $200 million production for a film, one film.
Justice League was $300 million. So
Justice League was a ridiculous anomaly, and it's actually more than $300 million because of the reshoots.
Yeah, and then Aquaman. So Aquaman 2 is apparently $200 million.
Oh, so they did go up to 200. Okay, part of that probably was, in large degree, they probably bounced it up from the first one. Not surprising, because that was the biggest hit that the DC EU has. That's the DC films that have come out since they built the universe post Chris Nolan Batman, post Christian Bale, Chris Nolan Batman, right? So that was the biggest one. So it doesn't surprise me they're going to throw a little bit more money behind it. Also because at this point, Momoa is now commanding more money because of his insane levels of popularity on a totally different planet than Amber Heard. Sorry, not even close. Terrible comparison. But here's the point. The good one he brought up when he mentioned Chris Pratt, like he just did a deal for Chris Pratt. right?
Yes.
So let's take that, because that is a perfect comparison. Chris Pratt, not necessarily as the titular character in Guardians of the Galaxy, but certainly the lead in Guardians of the Galaxy, right?
Well, Guardians of the Galaxy, though, undisputably a superhero movie.
It is, but this is my point. Chris Pratt is also not in a superhero movie in 3 weeks called Jurassic World Dominion. I promise you, Chris Pratt is making as much, if not more money on that non-superhero film than he did on the last Guardians picture Endgame. Okay, because again, his popularity is so. My point is that it's not necessarily a superhero a tag, which I think Marx was trying to express when he was going through his testimony. It's like it really boils down to what kind of movie are you making? A big, like, huge budget blockbuster, or are you making an independent film? A great example, in the middle of the height of Robert Downey Jr.'s popularity as Tony Stark, as Iron Man, right? We talked about this the other day. Who was it that brought Tony Stark? Who was it that brought RDJ back into the Marvel, convinced Disney to do it? Jon Favreau, right?
Yes.
He brought him in. Disney didn't want to do it. Marvel didn't want to do it. Kevin Feige, who runs Marvel Studios, didn't want to do it. Favreau said, "You got to trust me, stand on me. You need this guy." And he turned in to be he was the soul of 10 years of Marvel movies from Disney. And he was the one that was the most bankable actor. In the middle of all that, while he was getting his $50 million upfront paychecks from Disney to do those films.
It's nice when you get paid up front. It's very nice when you get paid up front.
That doesn't include the millions more he made on the residuals, the back-end deals that Richard was talking about. Okay, he made a bunch more than 50.
And that's no product placement. That's no anything else. That's no brand deals. Nothing else.
That's
just
cash,
the movie.
Cash movie, yeah. In the middle of all that, Jon Favreau still loves to make, he's a great storyteller. He loves to make his independent films. He did a movie called Chef, which is phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. I think it's still on Netflix. Favreau is an amazing storyteller. In that movie, he had Robert Downey Jr. show up for a good 15, 20-minute scene. And he was hilarious. And I don't think Robert Downey Jr. took a dime for that film. He did it for Favreau as a favor. If he did get paid, he wouldn't get paid $50 million. He was getting paid. Favreau probably gave him like $500,000. Scarlett Johansson was in that movie. She was Favreau's girlfriend in the middle of her height of popularity as Black Widow. She didn't make Black Widow money for that movie. So that's what they're talking about in terms of the budget of the movie, what type of movie you're making. Even though your career path is saying that you're in these big superhero movies, you have to have another superhero movie come along or a big blockbuster come along and make you the titular character or make you a lead character, which he was trying to say she was the female lead. And Lane kept saying, well, wasn't she the female lead in Aquaman and Aquaman 2? And Hamada unequivocally said, no. Aquaman 2, the leads are Patrick Wilson and Jason Momoa. It's a buddy cop comedy. She's in it, but she's female, but she's not a lead. And I was like,
yeah. She's the head of the females, but that's like being the top supporting actress, right? That's not the
she would have, I think, been classified by the Screen Actors Guild Award. If I had some other friends here that know a lot more about this
supporting actress, right?
I bet she would have been classified. Yeah, the only way she would have classified for an Oscar likely as a best supporting actress, not as a lead actress in lead role, because it really wasn't a lead role.
Well, I mean, and then she was trying to play all the video, and I know that the mainstream media was playing a lot of the video of, Mira is a strong character and a power character, and this is a new way we're branding, strong female characters. And I know that's the talking line. I know that's the talking point. We can get into the MCU at whatever point here, and I know that's where we're going with Marvel in the future. But frankly, we just have to take it case by case, right? If this is, She-Hulk, right? In that case, yes, She-Hulk is the titular character. That is the lead of the movie. But in this case, it's not Aquawoman. It's not, Random Mermaid number 2. It's Aquaman. That is Jason Momoa. It is not, at the end of the day, it is not Amber Heard.
And just like her holding on to the $7 million for 13 months before she found out that Depp was going to sue her for defamation and made that as an excuse as why she didn't donate it, which obviously was BS by the calendar. It's kind of the same thing with where were her other contracts? There was a year or so of time between Aquaman and when all this started, when Depp filed a countersuit and all this, and there was all this time. And there were no other major contracts rolling in for her. So again, it goes to just discredit this argument. You can't base damages, as you guys say in the legal world. You can't base damages on pure speculation. There has to be some concrete nature to it.
Yeah, yeah. There has to be something that's precise, right?
Mhm.
Something that's very, very, very concrete. And that's the whole point of damages. You can't be speculative. I mean, you can't be so speculative that it's an if. You know, yes, she could have had a massive breakout, but frankly, that breakout role wasn't Mira. I'd say it, but the Star is Born moment was not going to be Mira. It never was.
It
Mira,
had the
and
potential to be it, but it wasn't. I mean, it was a
was
breakout
not.
in the sense that she was in a big, giant, huge budget Hollywood blockbuster film, right? From that standpoint, it was a breakout career moment from the business side of things. I would agree with that. But in terms of her popularity and being a Hollywood star, no, sorry. It just, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. I mean, it really didn't come to fruition. Not like, I mean, like, look at the cast of Game of Thrones. You talked about Emilia Clarke earlier. That was a breakout. You know, because then she was getting signed up for all kind of stuff left and right immediately with that show. I mean, half that cast got signed up for stuff all over the place with the popularity of that show.
Yeah.
There was evidence of it. Yeah.
Yeah, which is very crazy. This is Aaron brought up this fact. Speaking of money, does no one notice that she's drinking a $500 bottle of wine, but he's drinking a generic Maker's Mark? Something doesn't connect there with me. Well, you know, she might have expensive taste, but that does tell you who's really concerned about what, right? You know, to me, I don't know. $2 truck ain't that different than the $500 bottle of wine. But also, I'm not a wine guy. I'm not a wine aficionado. So, you know,
if she had said he got me with a bottle of Louis the 14th brandy, you know, I'd have been like, oh well,
yeah, all right,
you know,
all right,
5,000 a bottle.
Yeah. Kim Ulmer says, "What's up? I watched you guys this AM and again after work from Hartford, California. Thank you so much, Kim. Appreciate the love from the state of California. Stay safe out there. I know the streets of California are pretty crazy. Guns down in hail. Depp had a great day in court, but they dropped the ball hard with Jennifer Howe. It would destroy Whitney's credibility. So let me bring up Jennifer Howe real quick because we talked about her a little bit. We brought over the declaration. The thing is, video testimony, number one, pre-recorded testimony sucks. Number two, we were all afraid they weren't going to get in much, and I kind of gave the arguments for the maximum amount they could get in based on her declaration, but they got in almost nothing. It was disappointing that they got in very little for Jennifer Howell, but I think there's enough other information that's going to discredit Amber's story. And I think the whole debacle with Hicksville and trying to literally get into it with, you know, about Tug and about, you know, whether you message the umbrella man, you know, I mean, or the umbrella guy, or the, you know, I joked on Twitter, I was like the umbrella god, you know, whatever, you know, you're not forgetting his proper pronoun here. I think that just looked ridiculous. It looked petty. It looked like they had something to hide. And in fact, I will assert, and we're going to see some evidence because I want to bring up the TMZ thing in a bit, that they do indeed have something to hide. So I don't know if what you thought about Jennifer Howell or that testimony.
It was brief. I was actually going to ask you a question because, like I said, I know we touched on this before the show. I mean, she wrote her letter. She had her statement. They basically were. It looked like they were able to get on the record in front of the jury that who she was, her relationship to Depp and Heard, her relationship to the situation that she was involved or allegedly involved in or witnessed at least. Her knowledge of who Whitney was. But then, of course, if nothing else came out of that, which obviously I guess they weren't going to allow the actual letter and statement in, but she did manage to say in front of the jury that she wanted to do this because, you know, she basically said that Whitney was lying and that she needed to come out and tell the truth and do the right thing. And I thought that alone, getting in front of the jury, was probably enough.
Yeah.
I think that had a tremendous impact because the jury, I think at this point, is wise enough to understand, you know, that there's going to be some machinations, some legal machinations of what can and cannot be allowed in. And they recognize, okay, well, for whatever reason, they barred this because it's hearsay.
Right.
But in the back of their minds, they're like, she saw something and it wasn't what we've been told.
And this is what TM was getting right here. Why do you think they played Jennifer Howell's depo when she didn't debunk the stair story? Well, here's the thing. The stair story has been debunked by like five. The stair story has been effectively debunked by 5 different people giving 5 different versions of that story. That's essentially debunked that story. And I think you're right, though, Valiant. I think being able to draw a line on that credibility is and say, hey, there's something going on here I think that's enough for Jennifer Howell. All you need for really is suspicion at this point of Whitney Howell and Amber Heard's motives. And we've already heard that the jury is not believing them. The jury is not buying what they're saying. Everybody in the courtroom has consistently said that they are not buying what Whitney and Amber are saying. They're tuned out to it. They don't believe it. And whenever they try to get a little success, there was a moment at which allegedly Amber Heard got him, there's one little concession on cross, and Amber Heard made a, yeah, she did a little yes, and they were like, I don't know what you're doing there. Like raising an eyebrow. Like, I don't know what's up here. So they were not believing that shit. Like not at all. Speaking of not believing stuff, Matthew says, I'm a bot. She's a bot. We're all bots. Beep. Good burger. We're all dude style. Enjoying your channel more and more since I saw you on Rackets. Yeah. What's up? Good to see you, man. Good burger. That's a throwback. That's a real throwback.
Big time.
Like a serious throwback. John Yarber says, Valiant, you're too young to have been a DJ, but I bet you were a Casey Kasem groupie. I hope this reference isn't too boomer.
Not at all. I mean, as a kid, I remember listening to Casey Kasem. I'm Casey Kasem. Today is the top 20 countdown. Welcome back to the show. I can do this all day. No, but as a kid, yeah, I used to listen to his show, but thank you very much. And I see the chat. I am not Tug. Everybody loves to do this is Tug. This is Tug. It sounds just like I'm going to tell Tug that you guys said this, but thank you. So I guess it's a compliment if you think I am, but no, sorry, I'm really not.
Yeah, she is comparable to Brie Larson. No, not that it's good. Yeah, okay, so here's the one thing. Okay, I asked you this before, but you've had some time to think about it. Can you come up with some comps for Amber Heard? Can you think of some like what would your best comps for Amber Heard be? I've actually heard some people give me some since in the interim, so I have a couple for you. I might be able to float, but I want to give me an Amber Heard.
I haven't really put much thought to it.
Kat Dennings.
I know that name. I'm blanking out right now.
Well, I just remember her from originally. The first thing I remember from Kat Dennings is boobs, but that's a lot of situations right here. Sorry guys. I mean, this is just the way my mind thinks. So let me pull her up here. She's kind of like a big titty goth girlfriend look. There she is. Okay.
I mean, there have been a number of actors and actresses, and let's take the DCEU or take the MCU or something like that, that have been in some of these roles that, they don't. Oh yeah. Okay. That's probably not too bad. Now, was she in?
She was in Thor. She was in Thor.
That's right. She was in the very first one. Okay.
Yep.
So you could call her a relative comparable. At the same time, you could also make the argument that Mira was more along the lines of like Natalie Portman's character in Thor. However, of course, Natalie Portman was already very well established.
Horrible comparable. That's a horrible comparable.
Well, I meant from characters in the film, right?
Yeah.
That's all I'm getting at is what their position was in the film, right? She was the love interest of the girlfriend of the lead dude, right? So that was Natalie Portman. So again, it's Kat Dennings. It's not a terrible comparison. There's probably some others. I mean, look forward at this point. Like you've got a lot of young MCU new characters coming up right now that people just aren't familiar with. Now, maybe these shows on Disney Plus will be successful, maybe not, but they're superheroes, right? They're the title characters. And I'll tell you right now, they're not probably making as much money right now as the title characters on these D Plus Marvel shows, which are big budget shows. They're probably not making as much as Amber did in Aquaman 2. I don't think they're making $2 million for this.
No, I agree with that.
That's what I'm saying.
So
and
Kat
their
probably
characters may not go anywhere.
Yeah, Kat did not make as much money on I guarantee you on Thor as
oh hell no.
As Mira. However, it probably was in a range, right? It probably wasn't $1 million, but maybe it was 500K. I mean, I could believe that because she was
whatever SAG. They probably SAG minimum times a multiple for their work because it's again these are untested or largely untested young actors and actresses that they don't know if the show's going to be successful. They don't know if, and again, Mira wasn't even a title character. So again, it's one of those things. It's really hard to tell. If she had been in the movie, the first Aquaman movie, and people just fell out of their seats for her at how amazing her performance was, because there's some very talented actors out there that can take 5 minutes of screen time and own the film, right? If she had had a performance like that, then maybe we have an argument where she was getting critically acclaimed right and left, and everybody's my God, her performance was. We didn't have that.
Right.
I don't care. I don't care what her team says. Didn't exist. Didn't exist. She was like, oh, that's Mira. Oh, okay, she's got nice boobs in that outfit. That's moving on.
And that's the role. And that's the role. Whether people like it or not, that's the role. I mean, and that's a categorically different than the lead person in a role who has to act, who has to go through a, probably an emotional range, a story arc where they're, experiencing a number of characters, not just showing up, being hot and disappearing, that's that's a much different role. Speaking of boyish good looks, Mary Mayhem, $5 super chat. Here's to the boyish charm. Thank you so much, Mary. Appreciate that. I know you're valuing our friends. Rabid for $5 says, you had me till you complimented John effing Favreau. Bad Valiant.
I guess we have some people that are probably questioning his Star Wars
Wars
I get
chops, yes, which I totally understand.
That's a highly complicated issue at Lucasfilm right now, and I'm still at this point. I do not blame Favreau for much of anything that's happening there right now. He's doing what he can, but yeah.
Mephistic Miasma says Amber's breakout moment is this trial. You know what's funny though? Honestly though, straight up,
he's right.
I've had people. We've had super chats where it's like, I'm 70 years old. I've heard of Johnny Depp. The first time I heard of Amber Heard was this trial. And I don't like her and I don't believe her. Right. So it's very interesting that a lot of people are reaching out. A lot of people on this channel even are saying, I've never heard of this person. I don't even know who they are. Which is hilarious to me, if she's broken out, quote unquote, broken out. Daybreak Adventure says, has anyone considered maybe she's a freak? Maybe she was into some of these things till he left. That is always an option. I think that more than that, though, she was an abuser and she was into abusing him for sure. And you can see that she still wants his attention and validation. She's even seeking his attention and validation during the trial. With her body language, with where she's looking, how she's dressing, she's seeking it bad, and he's not going to give it to her. He hasn't looked at her once. That's not going to happen. But
she looks still more angry every day
because she's not getting that attention from Johnny.
No,
and because Camille's flirting with her, with Johnny and Camille are flirting technically. Like they're doing the huggy thing. And I think that is performative to piss Amber off.
You have a good point. I didn't think about that, but I think because if my understanding, I think is Camille is married,
either married or has a boyfriend, whatever. She's taken. My hopes are dashed on the rocks, but it's okay. I will survive to another day. But that being said, I think she's taken. But I think Amber is the one who, if she sees Johnny, if she sees anybody she's with around anybody else, she hates it because she wants total control. The psychologists have testified to this, that these personalities need total control and they flip the fuck out if they lose total control.
You can hear it on the recordings that they've played in court. You can hear it in her own voice. When she's making all these recordings, taking all these pictures of him passed out, doing all of this documentation of Johnny being drunk or high. Strangely, not a single piece of documentation of a single piece of abuse or injury, but that's for another day. But everything on her own recordings is like her sounding nuts.
Crazy. Every time we've heard a recording, every single time. Fit Bay Moves says, what did you think of Camille saying, what if any, when rephrasing a question when Elaine had a temper tantrum from the Hicksville witness? I thought it was gold. Oh, it was beautiful. It was like taking your own shit and doing it. And if Elaine objected, you knew it was like, it's over. Like Elaine was like, it's like, I'm going to have to feed my cats more catnip when I get home. It was glorious. By the way, you guys asked for it. So I put a link in my description. This is like 10. This is just, if you literally want to, just do something here. I set up a Teespring with with what if any merch. So if you want any what if any merch, I also got an Amber Turd mug here. This is in the description. If you're out there, you want something, you want to make somebody laugh. It's like a gag gift too. I've got mugs. I've got water bottles. This is the Amber Turd mug. So check it out if you want.
I'm buying one.
This is in the description, guys. This is all I got. You got a hashtag Amber Turd. You got a what if any. So if you want that, if you're interested in it, go there, check it out.
If it gets popular because it's Amber, watch Teespring's gonna shut that shit down. Watch.
Oh yeah, but I'm just doing it for the lulz, guys. I'm just doing it for the trolls. Literally, like, I think like Alita Legal Bites has like run her very legitimate like Teespring. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna do some illegitimate stuff. It's totally legitimate. Teespring, I'm not saying that I'm doing anything illegitimate or doing it under any improper violation of your terms of service and use. However, I just like to have fun. I don't really care about the money from it or whatever. It's all just for the lulz, right? I always do it for the lulz. That's the best reason to do something, because you enjoy it and because it's fucking funny. Which on this channel, guys, on the Legal Mindset, we definitely have fun. All right. So the next thing I wanted to actually, I'll catch the super chat here. Simple Old Soldier said, speaking of ringing the bell, did you catch the couple of times when Mr. Knight, when talking about the fight at the trailer park, that he was triggered because he was a bit embarrassed of IPV?
They kept trying to shut him down from saying, like, because I experienced this or that, and like eventually he blurted it out and the jury heard it and it was too late. But yeah, they didn't want him to go into his alleged personal history of being a victim of abuse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which, once again, men can't be victims, right? So we got to silence that as quickly as possible, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's got to go down like 100%. It says, how about Haley Atwell as an Amber comp?
That's not bad.
Who's Haley Atwell?
Haley Atwell.
Okay.
Well, if
I'm
you
going to
watch
Google her right now.
If you watch the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Haley Atwell is the one who played Chris Evans's love interest. She was the British agent. I just blanked out.
The British agent, Captain Carter. Didn't she have a spin-off series?
Peggy Carter. Yes.
She had a spin-off series, though, right?
Yeah. She had a spin-off series. Now, of course, she had a spin-off series where she was the titular character, number one. Okay. She wasn't a superhero, but she was in a superhero film. Haley Atwell, though, she's a very talented actress as far as I'm concerned. She had a very memorable performance in the movies that she was in with the Captain America films. Again, and this goes back to the issue where I said, had Amber Heard taken full opportunity of the Haley Atwell to actually perform with the time she had on screen to make her performances as memorable as Haley Atwell had, that would have been a good comp. But the comp from a structural standpoint, in terms of how they fit into a film, that's actually a very good comp, I think.
Yeah, and guys, in case you need to know, because I'm a visual guy, right? So this is Haley Atwell, Captain Carter, right here, Haley Atwell. Right, so Haley Atwell, boom, boom. Clearly, your boy likes it. Your boy approves of Haley. So yeah, Haley is a very comparable actor in terms of her what she brings to the table. Women I love that were lovable and talented and were a major hit in their 20s. Julia Roberts, Meg Ryan, Sandra Bullock. This list is long. Who is Amber Heard? Yes. And here's the thing. We talked about this on Ricada. Amber Heard is not Helen Mirren, right? She's not a woman. And by the way, Helen Mirren, gorgeous. Look up young Helen Mirren. She was gorgeous.
Helen Mirren when she was 70.
And she still
was still beautiful.
Right? But that aside, right? Attractiveness aside, right? She did not bank on her attractiveness. She became an amazing actress. She learned to act. She trained her acting chops. She became somebody with a broad range of emotions, a broad range of roles she could play, and she improved her craft. Nick brought up Jamie Lee Curtis, which I love. We remember Jamie Lee Curtis from True Lies, bombshell, sexy, doing the lap dance for Arnold.
15 years before that. Look at where she came up from.
Yeah. And then she transitioned to become the Scream Queen, right? She was in all of the horror movies, right? And she made that niche. She learned to act. She developed her craft, right? And she found her niche as an actress, and she was able to maintain that curve. But you have to put in work, and Amber Heard simply was not putting in the work that somebody at her age needs to put in order to maintain that upward trajectory of a career.
Yeah. And you got to have a big hit. I mean, yeah, Aquaman was a hit, but let's be honest. Is anybody going to still be talking about Aquaman, the movie, 40 years from now? No.
Yep.
Are we all still talking about every year, 1978, the original Halloween, where Jamie Lee Curtis debuted as the star of the movie across from Michael Myers? Yes. It's still, that is still a huge movie to this day. That's the big difference. Yeah.
Yes. And let me, so I'm just going to, because I read some of the super chats out of order, so I'm going to read them off my list over here off screen. So, why Asian says, Wasian, rather. Sorry, I just read that mixed together. Wasian, $5 says, Elaine mentioned the Hicksville risk story today. I hope the Depp lawyers point out in closing how Rocky made no mention of the risk story happening. Yeah, that's a big one. Mexican Iron Man, who DM'd me on Twitter, and I wrote you back, I'm down, says $20 super chat. Andrew, you're officially invited to join us on Midnight's Edge of the Morning when you're free. The intersection between pop culture and law is fascinating. Great show. Awesome collab, gentlemen. Awesome. I'm super excited about that. I'll definitely see when I can squeeze in time.
It'll be after the trial. Yeah.
Yeah, probably after. I mean, if I'm able to get I may be able to get 30 minutes during the trial, but it's going to be really short and quick, but I would be happy to go over, because I do love the intersection between pop culture and the law, which is why I like talking to Valiant, because I think this is a productive conversation and we're exchanging what we know and kind of sharing and building our base of knowledge here. Once again, it's getting subject matter experts in who know a lot about what they're talking about. Carlos Estrada, did they leak Momoa's contract is now 15 million? Did they really? Is that a leak, or is that just speculation?
I don't remember. I mean, Hamada certainly wouldn't have leaked that. I don't think that was in his testimony. I don't know where. There was some mention of a contract.
Did Catherine
amount.
do it? Did Catherine Arnold leak it?
It might have been. I know that a figure got thrown out. Somebody said something today about a figure from Momoa, and I remember listening, and Nick even made a comment, wait a minute, facts not in evidence. And I kind of had the same reaction when I heard it. I think he said that because I'm like, I don't remember. Now, 15 million for Aquaman 2? Sounds about right. That's in the ballpark. But then again, I mean, you look at, I'm sure Patrick Wilson probably got 5 million for this because he's the co-star and he's not the titular character. But Patrick Wilson, I mean, obviously him and James Wan have done so many movies together with the Conjuring franchise. I mean, that's what. So yeah, I mean, this is.
John Yarber says Atwell is 39 and worth 3 million and will be in MI7.
Yeah, true.
There you go. That kind of makes her not that comparable. Amber Heard's cheek implants are way too distracting. Well, you got to be strategic about I'm here in Korea, the capital of facial, especially, facial plastic surgery. It's so common. Literally, I have a plastic surgeon that is a block from me. I see people walking with bandages on their face all the time. Let me say, there's doing it right and doing it wrong. I'll just put it that way. And in Miami, same thing. I was going to say,
if you look Amber's big paydays have been what? Aquaman 1, Aquaman 2. She got paid for both. That's $3 million. What is Haley Atwell worth? $3 million.
Let me read this one, and then I've got somebody to bring in here. 60-year-old male here. I've never heard of Heard before this trial either. Have seen her in some of the early movies. She had a hot Coke body, but never marked my memory. Do you know what I mean? I entirely know what you mean, because that Coke body is definitely what Carrie Fisher had in Star Wars back in the day. Like, even in some of the photos of Carrie Fisher, you see the cocaine under her fingernails. And speaking of 60-year-old males with cocaine under their fingernails, Flash.
Hell of an intro. All right, Flash.
How did you find my docs?
We glad you made it. Oh my God.
I got you. How's it going, brother?
What's up, man?
Good, man. Good to have you over. We're just shit talking today, hanging out. I saw you in the chat earlier today, so appreciate that. And I know you were watching some of this trial. What have you thought so far, man? Just this from a casual observer, not an attorney, not a financial nerd, just somebody who's watching this trial.
I think it's amazing. So definitely this is the next OJ Simpson trial.
Yeah.
So if you were around for that, this is what that was like. And it's insane, and it's almost done. Like 6 weeks. But today was really, really good. A lot of those expert witnesses just got shredded. Walter Hamada was huge. At least for me, I was really interested in that because I like all these movies and stuff. So
yeah. And it's kind of interesting because I think he even gave a little bit more than he needed to give. I think maybe he gave a little bit more in terms of, hey, this is all we gave her. We wouldn't have given her any more. And also the chemistry. I don't think he needed to get into the chemistry part, that there wasn't any chemistry. I think he could have left that out. But I think
I was glad that he did. It confirmed a lot of rumors too.
Well, isn't that what all the reviews said? Didn't all the reviews of that movie said they had no chemistry, that they absolutely had zero chemistry in the film?
They call her emotionless, but they use a different word.
I think it's bitch.
No,
Is it see you next Tuesday?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a different word for emotionless. They try to make it look like a compliment.
Stoic.
Got it.
Pragmatic. Yeah. Well, that's what we were saying
I
earlier.
think Flash was trying
Flash.
not to say it, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm being a little bit facetious and joking, but no, we were talking about that earlier. Flash. I thought that was one of the best parts about Hamada's testimony was it wasn't just the fact that he completely, crap canned this idea that, her decline at Warner Studios was due to something that Johnny's former attorney said or something in the media. He said, no, we didn't have this. We weren't going to renegotiate. That's not going to happen. We don't do that here at Warner, especially now that David Zaslav's there. And all this other stuff. And then he gets to the point about, well, she really didn't have any good screen chemistry. And we had to spend so much extra time in post-production just using, as his words were, movie magic to make it work in the first Aquaman movie between her and Momoa. And I'm like, God, he didn't just kill her counterclaim case. He just middle fingered her acting skills. I'm like,
yep.
That was nasty. That was just really nasty.
Yeah.
Her career is done.
Oh, no kidding.
Oh,
yeah.
and that is, by the way, that is one of the best outcomes of this trial. I think if there's a justice, it's that Amber Heard cannot get another role in Hollywood.
She'll never work at Disney. She'll never work at Warner Brothers again either.
No.
She tried to fuck Disney. That's the problem. You don't try to fuck Disney and fuck Warner Brothers and then turn around and expect them to help you out.
They were going to make her a Disney princess.
Were they I hadn't wait, which one?
Yes.
You'd have to get Tug in here. He could break it all down.
Oh,
but there was a
but,
deal.
I mean, it's just like Carrie Fisher's, Princess Leia became a Disney princess, I mean, that's
like in a live action recreation, I guess we're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Good Lord.
So, yep.
She'll be the next Colin Kaepernick.
You ain't kidding.
No,
I guarantee
that's it.
But that's literally what I've been saying is that she is, because that's how she's been angling. That's how she's been angling. Her career is angling down, so she goes SJW. In fact, I'll even say this. Emma Watson has been making that transition, and a lot of people aren't watching right now.
Where's she? Hermione Granger for 15 years. What is she doing?
What is she doing? Is she's shitting on J.K. Rowling right now?
Exactly.
No,
her
entire career
movie
shitting on J.K. Rowling.
Nothing.
Right. Mm-hmm. So all I'm saying is,
isn't she they them now?
Maybe, yeah. I think she is. Yeah.
Is it a day that ends in Y? I mean,
she's some kind of like non-binary or something. I remember reading about it.
That is where we're at, guys. Ladies and gentlemen. Let me read some of these super chats, and I got a question for you guys. So, Frentesh from $5 says Bronson Pinchot got a sitcom off 2 short scenes in Beverly Hills Cop. Amber Heard is no Bronson Pinchot. Have a drink on me. Do you know who this is? I don't know. I've never heard of Bronson Pinchot.
Yeah, Bronson Pinchot. So he was the guy running the art gallery in the first Beverly Hills Cop. Would you like an espresso? I mean, he did that. He was in a show called Perfect Strangers.
Okay.
Perfect Strangers was like a breakout hit on, I think it was ABC, or it might have been syndicated. I can't remember. But yeah, he levered that, and then he wound up in some other films. But I mean, his career was kind of short-lived. But yes, you do have those. And that was my point earlier about if Amber had actually taken the opportunity given her, even with the limited amount of screen time that she had, and made a memorable performance that people, after they walked out of there and went, God, Eddie Murphy was hilarious. But who was that guy in the art gallery? That Bronson Pinchot guy freaking cracked me up. Amber never had that moment in the movie she was in. She never took the moment to maximize the return on investment, as we say in the financial world, of that opportunity to lever that into a bigger career. It didn't happen. People walked out of Aquaman and were like, yeah, Mira had some nice tits.
Yeah, exactly. But that was the role. I mean, once again, we got to acknowledge, like, some roles, that's what they are. Let's be real. Let's not say, oh, they were there for plot development. No, they're the TNA, right? That is the point. They're there. It's like Megan Fox in Transformers. She was there for that car scene, right?
What is Megan Fox?
You know what I'm talking
Transformers?
about.
It's a great scene.
And by the way, Flash, you know the same thing. You said the comp of Ana de Armas, right? And Ana de Armas was popular in the Latin group, in the Latin, Latin film and Latin TV shows. She's Cuban American. She's Cuban, I think Cuban American, but she looks great, whatever. But she was already famous in that. But you remembered her from Blade Runner and the big billboard scene, right?
Yeah, but she's in that whole movie as that hologram.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was also in an Oscar nominated for Best Picture movie and was the lead.
No,
Yes.
I saw. So the first
Yeah.
time I even found out what that movie was I came across that clip of her looking like an anime girl
Mhm.
dancing. I was like, "What is this movie?"
And-
It got me to
and
watch the
she-
movie. It's an
and she-
awful movie, by the way. I think both of
that-
them are awful, but
But that's the thing, though, Flash. Sometimes people just watch it for that, right? Some people watch a movie, they see the TNA, and they watch it. That doesn't mean it's like not an important part of the movie. That's why they put it in there, because it gets
yeah,
people into the
sex
movie.
sells.
Sex sells, right? You're going to get people into the movie to say, well, at least I want to see that scene, right? I want to see the sex scene in it, you know? So they'll go for that.
Speaking of Aquaman, you talking about Thor earlier, right? We
Yeah.
were making that kind of comparison. And we were just covering this on Midnight's Edge. Flash was there. I was there. We were talking about, I had to bail out after we kind of finished the conversation. If you haven't seen the new Thor trailer that came out today,
Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder. Now, what were we talking about? What was the big draw for Aquaman? Jason Momoa, right? He is a hit with the ladies. And seeing his shirt off or whatever and his muscles, that gets the girls in, right? In the trailer today, they put it in the trailer where Chris Hemsworth gets his clothes ripped off. And he's standing there butt naked in the trailer, and they actually blurred out his naked butt. They just let all the girls out there know.
No,
we know you love Chris Hemsworth. We know you want
Right.
to see this movie. Sex sells.
It's
So
a fempowerment. It's a female lead. Chris Hemsworth naked. Come see this movie. It's going to be Magic Mike XXL Marvel Edition, right?
That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
But
okay.
you know, the
Interesting.
double standard there is if it would have been like a woman character,
Oh God.
like it's sexist, it's awful. This is really just sending women back. But because it's a guy, it's Chris Hemsworth. It's okay. It's such double standards. They're out there praising it too. Oh, it's so great.
Oh, if it was a woman,
From the same people, yeah.
predatory.
If she was in her underwear, they'd be calling it sexist and all this shit. It's such a double standard.
Yeah. It's horrible. It's horrible, but that's the way it is, And the point is that like you just acknowledge your reality. And on this channel, some other channels try to play around and pretend this isn't the reality. I don't bullshit around with this. Like this is the reality of why people do things, the way things sell, and how things are marketed. In Japan, they literally segregate anime into who's it marketed for. Is it marketed towards guys, girls, older guys, older girls, young guys, young girls, right? Because there's a demographic, you market it a certain way, and that's typically divided by gender. That doesn't mean nobody who's female watches the male anime. It doesn't mean nobody who's male watches the female anime. It just means typically you're marketing to a typical general demographic. To answer some super chats here, Lynette says, Kate Moss deposition tomorrow regarding the stairs. Hicksville guy, I want to live there. Yeah, I want to check it out for sure. Matt Field says, I just love how crude and lowbrow this channel and chat is. I feel right at home. This is a zero judgment zone, guys. You can say whatever the fuck you want to say. You can do what you want to do. We're like I said, we're here to have fun. We're here to have conversations, and I don't want anybody to feel like there's something they can't say on this channel, right? I'm willing to get my channel demonetized, the video demonetized.
Let's not do
just
that.
have a good conversation. No, and you know what's funny though, Valiant? I actually haven't been. All these videos on Amber Heard, they go yellow, but they go yellow because of the algorithm thinking it's spam or thinking it's whatever else. And also I think because of the attention on this.
Her name
controversial
alone demonetizes it.
Yes. But if you appeal within usually 24 hours ish, it'll go green.
Yeah,
So-
it will eventually. But it's like
Yeah.
if you have to wait a whole day by the time you put it out, like whatever that was on, because it's such a fast moving case, it's old news.
Yeah, you're right.
So
You're
the
right.
mainstream guys have a bigger advantage on it because they get it green right away.
That's
So
true. You're not wrong. It's very true. It's very true.
Yeah.
Matt Field says, got that one. Allison says, even though all the people called look good for JD, do you know why he looked so sad in court today? I didn't think he looked particularly sad today, honestly. Yeah, I didn't know about that. I didn't think he looked sad today. I think he looked fine, right? Yeah, I don't know. I
didn't notice anything in particular.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing out of the ordinary.
John Carbello says Amber is comparable to a 50-cent stripper. Make it hail in the club, guys, but actually don't, because that could be a crime. Mary Foss says, y'all are funny. Do you think the TMZ information will get in? All right, let's do it. We're ready, guys? TMZ, all right? You ready? We're doing it right now.
All right.
So maybe you guys have heard about a little thing called attorney-client privilege. So if I'm advising Flash, if Flash is my client, and Flash has stolen Valiant Renegade's pack of tampon applicators to snort coke, right? And I'm talking to him.
Damn it.
And he's like, yo, it wasn't actually me. It was my friend Ricada. Actually, Ricada was the one that stole it. I still have attorney-client privilege because it's something he told me. I got to keep it secret, right? It's between me and Flash, right? That's the most protected and sacred right is attorney-client privilege. Nothing is getting past that. But there's also journalistic privilege that's much more limited. Journalistic privilege is not attorney-client. It's not anything you say. If you saw when they were doing Adam Waldman, when they deposed Adam Waldman, almost everything he said was attorney-client privilege because it's pretty much any conversation between an attorney and their client is attorney-client privilege. The only thing you can say is like, did they hire you? Yes. What did they hire you for? Generally, you can speak about it. But that's about it. That's literally where it ends in terms of what you can say. But journalistic privilege is this. It's very limited. It says that if, let's say, Flash is Valiant's confidential source, he wants to keep Flash anonymous.
Call me Deep Throat.
Yes. Flash, Valiant has that right to protect Flash from being disclosed. So that's called journalism. He doesn't need to disclose his source. He can just say, somebody told me this. And as a journalist, somebody told me this. Well, here's where this shit gets crazy. Here's where the shit gets just wild. Because TMZ has now filed an emergency protective order, essentially emergency motion to intervene for the purpose of asserting journalist privilege. This is, I'm not going to read all this because there's some like legal jargon in here.
First Amendment, yo.
I'm a simple Florida lawyer, and I've got about an IQ of, 100, which is only slightly above the Florida average. So I try to keep it very simple. But essentially, this was filed by the head of business for TMZ. And what they're saying here is that TMZ was given the evidence of the stair video. So the, sorry, not stair video, the smashing bottles, the cabinet video where he's slamming cabinets.
I'm pretty sure that's after he found out he lost $650 million too. So
exactly.
I think anybody would be pissed if they lost that money. I don't know when they don't ever point that out.
You know what they can do, Flash? They can point it out on rebuttal because Johnny Depp's going to get called again.
Yeah, I hope they do that.
Because
I think that'd make people really understand like why he was so pissed.
They should do that. And by the way, okay, so there's this article that TMZ published says Johnny Depp goes off on Amber, smashes a glass wine bottle. Here we go. Number 6. This is really the meat of it. The video was provided to journalists at TMZ by a confidential source.
Yeah, I wonder who that is.
Exactly. TMZ promised the source it would maintain their confidentiality and not disclose their name. So on the witness list is Morgan Tremaine. Morgan Tremaine was a field assignment manager with TMZ.
But he's not anymore.
He is no longer an employee. They say it here. They are fucking shitting themselves because Morgan is going to get on the stand and he's going to disclose who it is. And here's the thing. They're trying to say that Morgan has nothing to do with the video and that the informant is not Morgan's informant. And why is this important? Because in the law, the protection is for the journalist. So the journalist gets to say, I'm not going to disclose my source. But if Morgan is a journalist and it's his source, he gets to choose whether to disclose it or not. So if he chooses to say that the source was who, because who is it, Valiant?
Amber.
Yeah, it's Amber, guys. It's fucking Amber.
Didn't she? Wasn't that one of her? If I'm not
Amber.
mistaken, wasn't that one of her infamous Freudian slips during some testimony? I
Yep,
mean, when I
it
gave
was
it
a
to
Freudian
TMZ,
slip.
I mean, did
When
you
I
see
gave
that
it to
duck?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, that was so it was Amber. We all know it was Amber. Amber's fucking lying,
Yeah.
right?
Let me ask
And-
you this: is the
Hold
fact
on,
that
hold on. But
okay.
but here's the coup de grace here, though. I just want to put this out here because gets me personally salty. TMZ are such fucking cucks, and I say this with every bit of love and respect for how cuck they are. They went and tried to strike all of us lawyers for playing the TMZ clip when it was played in court. A court document, understand how crazy this is. A court document is a public record. It's free. You can
that
go
would be
and
a
request
fair
it.
use issue. Maybe.
Yes, it is a fair use issue. And when we challenge him, like Rakeda is like, no, fuck you. Right? Because what I did was I didn't bother, Rakeda is a big shyster lawyer. I'm a junior shyster lawyer, right? I'm still on my up and up, right? So I'm not pissing off the gun yet. I'm waiting. So I just clip it out because that's a way to get rid of the copyright claim. You just clip it out and you're like, okay, fuck it. Like it's in a stream that I did for 3 hours and I'm going to clip out like 30 seconds of it. Like, okay, who cares? But Nick's, very stubborn, as you may or may not know. So, he challenged it. And of course, they're going to lose on fair use because it's in a court document. It's in a court thing. But the fact that they tried is a fucking ballsy move. And they didn't just do it to me. They didn't even do it to small creators. They're trying to silence this. And the only way they're able to claim that copyright is via this. And if this is here and it's tied back to Amber Heard, they could come back and impeach her for trying to mess with the proceedings like this by leaking this video. It really shows bad faith on the part of Amber Heard if they're able to get her as the leaker. So they are all freaking out right now to cover for Amber Heard. Yeah.
My question would be this. Okay, so we've got a named individual here that was a former employee of TMZ, this Morgan Tremaine.
Morgan
Morgan, what is it?
Tremaine.
Okay, Morgan Tremaine. He says they state he had nothing to do with TMZ's receipt of the video. Now, receipt to me is a loaded word. That could mean, did he physically take possession of it? Was he just the contact point and Amber uploaded it via FTP to their website? A transfer protocol thing. I mean, receipt. Well, what does receipt mean? This is my question, though. He's no longer a point there in line item 8, no longer an employee of TMZ. Is it possible, Andrew, because I know these laws vary from state to state. I've had to deal with them in a few different states, but not, I don't know if TMZ is based out of California where they are. Would they potentially have him under, like you said, he could choose whether I can testify because I don't work for TMZ anymore, or would he potentially be under an NDA to where he couldn't pass along quote unquote privileged information protected by an NDA for the time of his employment at TMZ?
Mm-hmm.
Is that possible?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I was just curious.
Yep.
Because it's funny, like, because TMZ has pre-filed this before. They haven't been subpoenaed for anything, right?
No, they're literally, this is why this is so crazy, guys. It's because they're so worried about this that they filed an emergency. You don't file an emergency motion if you're like not worried about what's going to be said at trial.
Right. This wasn't a response to a subpoena that they got. That was my question.
No, not at all.
Okay, gotcha.
They came before the court to do this. There was no subpoena. There was no like, hey, we're going to reach out to TMZ. No, you wouldn't. And once again, procedurally, you don't file emergency motions, right? Look at the filing date on this, May 24th.
That would be today, I think.
Yes, at 2:14 p.m. It's the P right there, so that's PM.
They filed it in Fairfax. So let's see who was on the stand.
Somebody flew down there. Who was
on the stand at that point, or just before this was filed? Then
I think what happened here was they gave their witness list over, and Amber Heard's team called up TMZ right away. Ballard Spar. By the way, I've worked with Ballard Spar. They way overcharge, so just understand that. Not with this guy though, but on different matters. But anyways. I guarantee it was a witness list. I guarantee they saw Morgan Tremaine on that witness list, and they dropped a grumpy, and they literally filed this immediately. They had their lawyer draft this up immediately. Now, just to be clear, because Rob practices in Virginia, and who's Law and Lumber, and also I know there was like a back and forth on Legal Bites' channel, and I'm not going to get into law nerd shit. Once again, I'm going to simplify this. This is a new this privilege and asserting this privilege in a non-criminal context is very suspect. This is, in fact, only this year did they even allow you to assert journalist privilege in a civil context. Usually it's for criminal cases.
Mm-hmm.
So the journalist will trying to protect someone from criminal prosecution, which I get, right? You're trying to protect them, so it encourages them to speak up. You don't want them to be charged with a crime. I get that, right? Because maybe, right, that source did something that might have been illegal in order to get that information. It's possible. So you want to protect them from being charged with a crime. And also encourage people to speak up. But yeah, I mean, it's very new. There's arguments for and against this applying, but the majority of people have said, by the way, that they will deny the motion. And I think for me, because I mean, I cannot be fair about this and bias, my bias is against the shysters. And I think TMZ putting out that video slandering Johnny Depp and then the mainstream media jumping on top of it has disadvantaged Johnny Depp. I think the justice here, the equity here, is to bring the truth to why they did that, how they did that, and who did that. Mm-hmm. So I think it would be justice for them to grant this and allow Morgan Tremaine to speak. But go ahead. Do you have something there, Valiant? I know you were going to
I was just curious. I guess from some perspective, I can completely understand, even though if TMZ itself, maybe their legal team thinks, look, this is a shot in the dark, but we got to make a statement on this, because I would presume if this motion is denied and this person, I mean, why would you name the person? If he had nothing to do with it, why would you be worried about it? Number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, I feel like you'd have to file a motion like this to save face, because if this gets to go into court and they're going to testify to the fact, well, this is the confidential source of this material that popped up in this trial, that's going to go probably a long way to discredit TMZ's reputation of being able to acquire any type of future confidential sources being passed to them. Like their reputation is staked on the fact that we get information, we don't tell you where we got it from, we just leak it and we make a bunch of money from it. We pay these sources a ton of money to give it to us. If that veil is broken, I guess in their minds, they're going to feel like that could financially impact them. Now, that being said, if this is a perfectly legal thing to do in the state of Virginia, it's like, no, you have to turn this over based on this case. We're not going to try to hide it. Well, you can't do anything about it, but the public perception, I guess, for TMZ is what maybe they feel is in jeopardy. If this actually goes into a courtroom and they have to name the source that gave them this material, I would think that would jeopardize future sources from passing along information to them, at least in their own head.
Yeah. Any thoughts on this, Flash? You have any thoughts on this about whether TMZ and leaking and all this other shit that's going on with the mainstream media? Because this has been an issue not just with this case, but I think this is a broader issue.
Well, I'm wondering, so can they, if this guy reveals the name, can they sue him?
No.
They can't do that.
No, he's not. He's a former employee. So, I mean, unless he stole corporate records, but no, just for revealing it. Also, they can't sue him for doing something completely legal and participating in a court case. Like they would have an issue there if they tried to come after him for testifying in a court case, right? If he was trying to do anything illegal, it won't be permitted. Like the testimony won't be permitted if it was, the result of in a criminal context. This is like widely misquoting the doctrine, but it's called the fruit of the poisonous tree. So if you're getting something like that, if you're breaking in somewhere and you're breaking into a bank vault and you get some information, right? They're not gonna allow you to use that, right? So if the court is gonna allow them to testify, nothing that he says is gonna open him up to suit, right? Unless it's accusing them of a crime falsely, but I don't think they're doing that. I think all he's going to say is Amber Heard was the one who sent us this video.
Do you think that he's going to get to testify?
Yeah, he's on the witness list.
No, I mean, so can this motion stop it?
It can. I think they're going to. The prediction of myself and the majority, I think, of LawTube. I can't speak for everybody, and I know some people think it's going to fail. I think Rick Hogue was like, oh, it's going to fail. But I think Law and Lumber said Rick Hogue said they're going to grant it, which means they won't allow him to testify. But the majority of people, including myself, I'm going to say, I think they deny this motion and I think they allow him to testify.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be
Andrew,
great. I hope they do. I hope they do let him testify. And she just gets burned down. Like she's been getting burned down for the past week.
Oh yeah.
Andrew,
Oh,
would it be
yeah.
the same
What's up, bro?
judge?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I mean, would the same judge rule on this motion that's presiding over the case?
Yes, this judge is the one that's going to rule on this. Like
Okay.
once again, the trial judge rules on all matters of all legal matters, all precedential matters.
I assumed so. I just wanted to clarify. I wasn't entirely sure.
Yeah, it's this
Okay.
one. Okay, I've got a shit ton of super chats, so I'm going to burn through some of these guys. So we got some good questions in these. A says, the only good acting I've seen Amber perform was when I saw her turn into a zombie and get double tapped in Zombieland by the main character. I forgot about that. Patrick Kennedy said, I am blasted book club. Yes, Patrick, I know I'm on it. It's trial week, brother. But we do a book club in my private community, legalmindset.locals.com. I'm coming up with it. I've got some good suggestions. The poll's going to go up soon. We're doing a trial week right now, bro. So trial weeks are crazy. Morgan King says, what are your thoughts on the video going around of one expert talking to Elaine about lying on the stand? Okay, so Morgan King, go look at my video. Actually, fuck it. I'm going to play it right now. Fuck it. We'll do it live. We're going to Ron Burgundy this bitch. Okay. For those of you that didn't see this, I'm going to play it one more time. This is a video that's been circulating. We'll talk about what you think it says and what it actually says, right? Because it probably doesn't say what the captioning.
Is there something on that?
Okay, so the key point here was this. The claim is that he said, I'll play it from the beginning real quick. Okay, I will lie in my testimony.
Well, that's
And then-
the subtitle, but it's not,
Yeah,
somebody
so-
needs
so-
to slow it down and
So this
boost it.
one here probably makes it more clear.
Is there something on that?
Okay, this makes me think that the word is not lie, because is there something I'm not allowed to? I think it's rely, and I think it's on or rely for whatever. But I think it's not lie, it's rely. I frankly, guys, it is hard for me to believe that in the courtroom he's going to talk about lying. I'm sorry, like that would be
stupid. Elaine just does not know how to use that mic.
I mean, Elaine is legitimately the worst lawyer ever. I mean, I'm waiting. Like, I need to get the editor to do like the super clip of like worst lawyer ever, Elaine Bredehoff. Like literally,
What
is the
if
fucking
Annie?
worst. Yeah.
Okay, what if
Well,
Annie?
Wait, was Flash here to see your merchandise?
No, I don't think
That's
he
what
was
she
here for
says all
that.
the time.
Hold on. Let me
Wait,
see if I
Flash,
pull
you got to
this
see
up.
this. Andrew's already got this covered.
Yeah, hold on. It's in my my description of my thing. I'll pull it up in a second, anyways. It's fucking hilarious though, guys. Like literally, I always die laughing with these things. But
I'm gonna go order a cup right now.
Jesus Christ. Okay, it's in the description of the video, right? Which because I don't have that pulled up right here. I'll get it in a second, guys. But the point is the matter in the description. There's a little website that may have something you're interested in, including possibly some merch for What If Any, guys. So I'll pull it up a little bit later so you guys see it. But right now, let me get through these super chats. Okay. So Collector's Digest says, I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, motionless face and the blackest of eyes, the devil's eyes, Dr. Loomis. Great work, Andrew. I love Halloween. Keep it up. You're welcome. Wild Child, new acronym. Can't understand normal thinking. I'll let you guys think about that one. Susie A. Thanks for all the education. I've learned so much. Keep going. My full support for LawTube. This is my favorite channel. Hey, Susie, thank you so much. And guys, 7,500 of you, smash the fucking like button right now if you like this channel. If you don't like it, go go subscribe to, I don't know, TMZ, because they'll give you some false information. But otherwise, if you like this shit, smash it, right?
We can get to 3,000 likes right now. We're 2.1.
Yes.
We can get to 3. We got plenty of people here. Everybody go do it. And hit the
Speaking
share
of
button
which,
too.
More people coming in with the love, guys. That one chick, $10. Found you through Ricada. Love what you guys do. Thanks for all the entertainment and forward coverage. This is what we do, guys. We always try to bring, I try to bring a balance, right, of information and education at the same time, right, and entertainment, right? If this shit is not fun, like, you're not gonna want to listen, right? You're not gonna want to tune in, right? And sometimes even bring on grifters like Flash, who are only funny like on a Tuesday, right?
That's right.
When you've got Lofty to make fun of.
I'm trying to get as good as Nick at it. I don't know if I'll ever get to that level.
Nick is a professional grifter. He is a professional grifter. I like sometimes don't even know how he got to this level, but he is just like grifter senpai to me. Like seriously. And by the way, guys, Flash has a panel show every Saturday at Flash. What time do you start? 11 p.m.
It's 10 p.m. EST. So
10 p.m. EST. Yeah, I'm in Korea, guys. So mind you, like I always like to have to think 2 times because for me it's Sunday morning. So 10 p.m. EST. So check that out. It's Flashcast. If you want to check that out, I'm on it. Valiant, have you been on?
No, I have not been on Flashcast.
Well, Flash, you need to fix that motherfucker.
Oh,
so,
don't like put him on the spot here.
No, I will. This is my show. I put whoever on the spot that I want to.
we'll get you on one of these days.
Yeah, exactly.
No worries,
See,
Flash.
I got you, bro.
It's all good.
All right. No, it's not okay. All right.
Trying.
Britt Cormier says, you try to F the mouse F you. But seriously though, guys, you really don't fuck with Disney, because I used to work with, I said with Reedy Creek. I was across the table from Reedy Creek. Also, I know a lot of people are Disney lawyers. I know a lot of people work for firms representing Disney. Disney, they literally have no ethics. They have no bottom. Disney knows no bottom, right? You are the bottom in the relationship with Disney, right? And even law firms, you know what they do with law firms? Everybody wants to say they represent Disney. So you know what they do? They bid it out and they get the lowest bid. It doesn't matter if you've been working for them for 50 years. They have zero relationship equity. They bid you out every 6 months to a year. No matter what you're doing, no matter how specialized you are, they'll bid you out.
And they do that with everybody. I did not tell you the story. I had some friends growing up that were a plush toy company, and Disney approached them. I was a teenager at the time, and the parents of my friend, and they approached them to produce a bunch of plush Disney toys and stuff like this. They make a bunch of stuff for Mardi Gras parades here in New Orleans now. And the dad, who was my friend's dad, was like, we looked at it and it's like, we just couldn't do it because we could see what they were doing. It's like we were going to be running at bare razor margins, working like dogs, and then it was like we couldn't see anything down the road. It was high risk. Sure enough, they were very happy they didn't take the deal because they saw what happened to some of their competitors who did, and they got fucked. Yeah.
No, I 100%. I 100% agree. A says Amber is passive apathetic. Yeah, very true. The Parakeet says Hitchcock had to edit around a lot of Joan Fontaine's performance in Rebecca for the same reason. He did so well that it won Best Picture. I don't know about that.
I don't remember that one, but it doesn't surprise me.
I'm not like I like Hitchcock films, but I don't like study the filmography of Hitchcock. I mean, I studied one of Hitchcock's films in class during college, but I was drinking a lot and probably smoking marijuana. So not as much as Johnny Depp though. Blue-eyed Roof Korean, the base says defense making Tug into a V for Vendetta character. Oh my! So Flash, what did you think when you heard about Tug's name like dropped in the court? What did you think when you heard that?
That was awesome. I was really wondering if they were going to bring him in because I've known that he's talking to that Adam Waldman guy forever.
But how are they going to get him? Like they don't know it. Like how are they going to subpoena like Tug? Like how's that even going to work? Like I mean, I'm just thinking practically. Like they're going to submit it to YouTube and try to get YouTube to disclose who Tug is. Like that's not going to probably work out for them very well. I don't know. I just don't feel like they're going to be able to subpoena Tug.
Are they trying to?
I don't think they've tried to. I mean, I'd have to ask.
Well, he's doxed. His identity is out there.
Yeah, he did get doxed.
He got doxed. Okay. So I guess they could try if he's been doxxed.
They know.
Also,
They know what it is because there's screenshots of maybe Eve Barlow. There's some of her little buddies. You know, her little Amber
clan, yeah.
Amber clan.
Yeah.
They know about it, and they were like, "Oh, we got his info. But let's wait and see what Amber wants to do with it."
Oh my God, they're such fucking simps. Like,
Well,
that's
here's the
so-
thing, and I DM'd you while this was going on earlier today, Andrew, because I was like, because I know you were on Nick's show, and I had Tug in a second window, and as soon as the bottle of Chardonnay on the witness stand got up there, and Elaine is asking him about, well, did you talk to were you responding to the Umbrella Man on Twitter? And Tug immediately responded to like, I've never talked to this guy. We've never communicated. Like he sent something. So, I mean, the issue was an unequivocal, no, we've never had a conversation. So I don't know what they're going to get out of him, even if they did manage to subpoena him. I mean, the thing would be, that would be a farce. If they went that far with this, that would show how, I mean, everything they've done so far would pale in comparison to how bad they would beclown themselves by subpoenaing Tug in this.
right,
That would be a complete farce.
right.
Well,
right.
why would they do it? Like, I mean, they already know we talked to Adam Waldman.
That's my point. There's
So,
nothing.
yeah, what are
They just
gonna
don't
say?
like him because
Yeah.
he was really effective at like getting people interested in this trial. It's all he's been covering for like 2 years.
I think here's what they would try to do, Flash. If they would to Tug, they would try to just not just to dox him, but kind of try to expose his finances, try to expose his life as much as possible, try to get bad information out there to some way damage his what something in his life, right? Find some vulnerable aspect of his life, put it out there publicly in trial, and have that exposed. I think that's what they would try to do, hurt his reputation in court somehow. So I don't know if they could do that. I don't know if they have enough information on that. I don't know about Tug's like personal history. Like I've only met Tug like through this, like recently, right? So like I don't personally know him, and I'm not trying to like discuss any of that. I'm just saying this is their strategy, right? One of the trial strategies is if you can't win, you make the other people look like shit. Like I think in this trial, at this point, Amber Heard is literally just trying to make Johnny look like a drug user and a horrible person because he uses drugs. Like, which, I mean, frankly, from the beginning, I've said this, and my whole line is, who the fuck cares, right? It's 2022. I think, especially for young people, and this jury is very young, everybody's done drugs. I'm just gonna throw that out there, like, or at least somebody who's done it, right? You've gone to a fucking EDM festival, you've gone to some fucking concert, whatever. You went to a Marley Fest back in the day. I remember that shit. They were like passing out blunts at Marley Fest in Miami. Like, it's not even a problem. You're talking about people doing MDMA like it's, I don't know, like mainlining, crack cocaine or something like that. It's just from a different era, what was that? Reefer Madness era, right? The era of like all the anti-pot propaganda.
Prohibition, like
Prohibition, yeah, almost Prohibition. Right?
Oh no, that's after Prohibition. That was like
No,
that
but
movie that you're talking about. That was probably
Reefer
like
Madness?
1950s.
Mm-hmm. They're treating it like the 1950s, and they're treating it like it's Prohibition but with drugs, and it's not really. In fact, it's
That's
quite
what
the
I thought
opposite.
you meant. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite the opposite. I think that's actually one issue that if you poll politically, even right and left, it's pretty much like, yeah, we don't care. Like Florida, for example, we like 80% voted to legalize medical marijuana, right? We really don't care. Like it's not a right left issue.
America doesn't care about weed anymore.
Right.
It's just
like,
most people are
okay.
right, left. Everybody's libertarian on that. It's like, you want to smoke it, smoke it. Nobody gives a shit.
Who gives a shit? Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what? Tax it, and there you go. You're fine.
Yeah.
Give it the money to the children. Who the fuck cares? John Yarber says, bulky Berkomis, damn, I'm old, but she can't act. Amber Heard. Bulky Berko, BALKEY BERTOKMUS. I don't know who that is.
Oh, wait, is he saying, Balky? He's talking about Balky from Perfect
Balky.
Strangers. That's Bronson Pinchot's character from Perfect Strangers.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
Yes.
See,
Okay.
I
can't see the chat. I can't see the super chat, but when you spelled it, I was like, oh, he's okay.
It's
I got
so
it.
far back. I've got to
I
read
know.
it off of my archive.
He was talking about our
list now.
Bronson Pinchot conversation. Okay, got it.
Got it. Salty Berserker Ricada endorser. Salty Berserker Ricada endorser says, longtime follow of you, Yellow Flash, and Legal Tube. First time able to donate. Sorrow can't do more. Andrew, you rock. I don't give a fuck how much you donate. Thank you for donating. Thank you for being here. If you smash a like button, that's the best you can do for this. Like, seriously, guys. Simple Old Soldier said, Amber was more relaxed and smiling today, and at one point it looked like she might have been flirting with Rottenborn. That's disgusting. Kurt Terry says, Johnny Depp winning this case would be a great start to White Boy Summer. Is White Boy Summer a thing I'm missing here? Like, did I miss out on the memo for White Boy Summer?
I missed the same memo. Yeah.
I mean, I'm ready. I'm ready.
3,000 likes. Thank you, chat. I'm sorry.
My Beavers unit says, Andrew, are you drinking a juice box? Seriously, no. This is a super cute Korean coffee, and they put a little cute animal on the top as the straw to keep it from going down. You see that? It's fucking Korea. They do little cute shit like that.
I was about to say, if that was Hello Kitty, that would be awesome.
No, this is a random ass coffee place. It doesn't even exist in America. It's not a Starbucks. They just fucking do cute shit. They're like, have some cute stuff. And I'm like, okay, Korea. All right, whatever. It's cute though. And the girl was very pleasant. The server was very pleasant. And I didn't have to tip her. Blondie77 says, hats off to all of you. Thank you very much. Blue-eyed Roof Korean the Based says, question, in Top Gun, the Taiwan flag was censored. In order to use footage, DOD was involved. Is censoring Taiwan flag in film illegal when the government is involved? That's interesting. Now, okay,
wait,
look.
In the original Top Gun?
No, the new one.
Oh,
yeah, they removed the Taiwan flag and I think the Japanese flag.
That was because of China.
Yeah.
China did
that was back when
that.
China had a lot of influence. That's kind of drying up now. So I don't know if they would still do that if they were making the movie today. There's no like studios are like, we don't need, like, we're making $1 billion without China. So fuck them.
And I think they need to realize that, right? And they're going to make more money by making good films. And guess what? Those good films are going to get bootlegged in China. So don't worry about it, right? And that bootlegging actually is good because then it gets out, it gets popular, and they buy the merch. And they're not making the merch, and well, they may make it illegally, but point is, the good merch is made outside of China, and the Chinese tourists will take their commie bucks and come to the theme parks in America and spend their commie bucks here and stimulate our economy, which is probably the one thing we have going for us is tourism and our theme parks and stuff like that. So that is one thing Disney should be focusing on instead of what pronouns you use. But that's a separate issue. Charlie Brown says, I find it funny that TMZ says Tremaine knows nothing. He has nothing to do with it. But hey, just in case we don't want him to testify. Charlie.
Thank you.
Exactly. Why file the motion if he doesn't know anything? If what are you afraid? Why are you filing an emergency motion?
A panic motion.
If he knows nothing, then just let him speculate if it's speculation. The lady doth protest too much is the saying, right?
Yep.
Johnny Yarber says Amber Heard will be lucky getting a job riding the pole at the Schlamet strip club. Schlamet, I don't know what that is, but okay. Hunch the Roofer says Nick's so shyster. Joe and Ron have made him into an honorary member of the tribe. Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm apparently a half member of the tribe because I try to save money on stuff. J Rig says California has 2 parts. I forget what it was. It was like something specific. It was like I'm in Korea for cost of living savings, and they're like, you get half a card there. You get half
the Jewish card. Okay. All
yeah.
right.
J Rig says California has 2-party consent, same as Florida. Couldn't that mean she's at risk of violating that because recording a Johnny or a spouse stops that? There's some risk there. Yes. I think that's why they're trying to do it because it's not going to make Amber look good. And the mainstream media, and this has been international, has been pro-Amber, wildly pro-Amber. Analytics on the website, would it be considered protecting Amber Heard from criminal perjury charges? It could. Well, remember, she's already suffering from perjury charges in Australia. And also an Australian attorney reached out to me. So I'm going to reach back out to him. And I may talk to him about the perjury case in Australia. I think that'll be fascinating because that is ongoing. She's ongoing criminal perjury charges in Australia. And now the UK, we talked with Jordy about this. There's a potential she gets charged in the UK with criminal perjury charges. So you could add to that. In this case, it's possible. I think it's less likely she gets him in the United States, but it is still possible she could get perjury charges. It's always possible. Tommy Hoshiyama says, I think Kate Moss should testify the first time she heard the vague rumor that Johnny pushed her down the stairs was in the 2020 UK trial. I think that may be what she actually testifies. Did you guys hear that rumor before? Valiant or Flash, did you hear that like Kate Moss was pushed down the stairs by Johnny Depp?
They talked about it in the UK trial, but Kate Moss
But before that, though,
never said that's true. So I don't think so. Before that, really,
yeah, I never heard that before.
Never heard of anything about it before all this started with Amber.
she's just pulling shit out of her ass, and now she's gonna get called a liar again.
Well, her ass is her deadliest weapon, as we've seen.
All she had to do was not say the two words Kate Moss. That's all Amber had to do.
Why does she keep wearing men's
And-
warehouse clothes though?
But do you think
Would you like
she's
to see our mouth and dung section? Because we put you in Dr. Evil's clothes the other day, and that would fit you.
She looked
so
like she
well.
was Colonel Sanders on Monday.
What the yes? What the
But
hell?
what,
I was
but was it a sexy Colonel Sanders Flash?
No.
No, she's looked awful this whole trial.
Oh God.
It wasn't like the Halloween version, like the slutty Sanders, right?
There's like
She was
one day
wearing
where she
all
wore
11
like
herbs and
a type of
spices on her
dress,
face.
and it looked like she was she looked like she was Chairman Hurd.
It's very true. No, that the Chairman Hurd one is bad, and I really think it was to pander to the Asians, and I'm like that did not work out well. Like
There's like 3 on the jury.
six.
6 Asian.
Wait, sorry. Wait, is it 6? Yeah, it's 6. Because remember, there's like one backup, right? So there's like 8 people, and I believe 6 are Asian, or maybe it's 5. But anyways,
But
the
why
majority
would
are
you
Asian.
dress up as the Asian leader that kills all the other Asians?
But they must like that because they're Asian, though, Valiant, and they all dress like that, right?
Oh God.
I'm leaving that one alone. I'm done.
Little Mama said, Johnny, what's that? Jennifer Howell's testimony is being presented to the jury, so they will read all about the staircase and finger and Whitney's lies. Amber Heard's team says all hearsay, but Johnny Depp's team got everything they need. Amen. So let me be very clear about this, guys. The declaration you saw, the letter you saw, that is not admitted into evidence. What she said in the courtroom, what you heard in the courtroom, that is admitted. So what you heard is admitted, not the things you've seen online. So be very clear. The declarations they make, that's all well and good, but not all that's getting in. It's what you heard in court, and that is it. They get the record of what's in court and not stricken, and that's all. That one I got that one right. Lindsay Barner said, do you know about the LAPD investigating Amber and Rocky about perjury? And it's on Twitter. I'll have to look into that. If you've got an article, send it to me and I'll check it out for tomorrow. If you have an article. Okay, I will say one thing, and I'm going to try not to get in trouble here because this is something that may be potentially getting me in trouble. There's a lot of scuttlebutt about an Amber Heard DUI and what may have happened during an Amber Heard DUI when she was younger. So a lot of speculation that there might have been something that happened that was really bad. I can neither confirm nor deny whether it was right. However, on my legalmindset.locals.com, I believe Danielle posted for free, and I'll try to pin it after this stream, an article about the speculation about what might have happened when she was younger. That's all I will say. It is free. You can sign up. Just need your email, legalmindset.locals.com. I'll leave it there. I'll pin it after this chat so you guys can read an interesting article about Amber Heard's potentially criminal past. Not saying she did or didn't, just saying there's potential there. Judge for yourselves. Sweet Arts says, I heard they could award whoever wins $1 true. Yes. So if you win damages, so even if you win, they can give you nominal damages. So they could say, okay, Johnny Depp, you win, but it's $1. So you win. We think you're right, but we don't believe your theory of the damages. So we're just going to give you $1. And that's sort of like, okay, we think you're right, but we're not, we don't know what the damages are. Maybe we can't prove it. Maybe it's a moral victory. But frankly, honestly, to me, I think Johnny Depp does not fucking care about the money. I think he cares about winning the case. If he got $1, I don't think he would walk. I think he would walk out there with a smile on his face.
Any
It's about
verdict
clearing
in
his name,
favor. Yeah.
for
Any
sure.
any verdict
It's
that
about
the jury
clearing
comes
She
back
doesn't have
with
the
that says
money.
Johnny Depp wins is
Yeah.
fine. If it's
You-
$1,
you-
if it's $100 million, doesn't matter.
You're right. She doesn't have the money, Flash, unless Elon bankrolls her. Rakeda doesn't believe that Elon's bankrolling her.
I do.
You do? Okay, so that's
Yeah.
like I think it's possible because
I think that's his. I think that's her kid. That's his kid too, because they had frozen embryos, according to I think Jennifer Howell was talking about it. in her
I think
statement.
Elon's a simp. I think Elon's a big simp. I think he's definitely, there's a good chance he's on the hook there. The Real Hydro says Flash is guys, I read all the super chats. Some of the people skip super chats. I don't. Flash is worse than Ethan Ralph. When you speak the truth to these figs, they try to mute you. They call you boot or some corny shush. Okay.
If I muted you, you were probably fucking annoying.
Yeah. I
Sorry.
have no clue. Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, that's fine. It's also like, here's my philosophy, Flash. It's your show. You can do what the fuck you want, right? If you don't like it, you don't come on your show,
Yeah.
Like your show, your rules, right? Like if you want somebody to shut up, you just mute them. And if they don't like it, they can leave. So they don't have to be there, right? They're being there because they gain something, they get exposure, et cetera, et cetera. So that's my 2.5 cents on that. DeadX Girl says, this is a pledge, not a donation. Got here late, so I'm catching up. Once Amber Heard's team runs out of time, are they able to still make objections? Sent you a video on Twitter. I think that's the one I played, DeadX, which I played multiple times about the in courtroom audio. So about the time, we had a big debate on this. There were people going back and forth on this on LawTube. So here's what we think: if they run out of time, there's a law, a fundamental right to cross-examination. So I think that if they were to run out of time, I think they have to give them some time to cross. So that might have to be per witness. They have to give them 3 minutes. Because if you take away that right, it creates what's called an appealable issue. An appeal is a challenge. So let's say Johnny Depp won. Amber Heard's team might be able to appeal it by saying we didn't get a chance to cross, which is not fair. So you don't want to give them that thing. And no judge wants to be appealed and overturned. It looks bad. It's like it makes them look like a shitty judge. And it makes them more likely to be appealed in the future. So yeah, I don't think she's going to not give them any time. I just think she's going to give them de minimis time. And she may, at the end, go count that time up and somehow give some extra time to Johnny's team, maybe to put on direct. It's possible she might counterweigh that. Light Giver says, in Ontario, Canada, you're allowed to grow 4 plants in your backyard. Wait, I assume you're talking about pot. Yeah, it's legal in Canada, yeah? Right? Is it legal in Louisiana? Is pot legal in Louisiana?
I'm not as a broad scope thing. I think there's medical. I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I mean, but crap, it's New Orleans. I mean, everybody's going to.
Right. I was going to say, do people care? Right.
Are they arresting people in the city?
For
No,
pot.
because they have probably a third a number of the cops in New Orleans that they actually need for the damn city.
Right.
Hopefully, they don't give a crap about people smoking a joint. I mean, that'd be a waste of the time. We've got the highest per capita murder rate in the U.S., and that's the least of the concerns.
And you're going to waste time on people
decriminalized. It's decriminalized where I'm at. So
yeah, decriminalize.
I agree.
No, I think that's a solution. Decriminalize. The cops can't pull you over for it. The whole thing is the cops using it as a pretext to pull you over to search your car, saying the biggest fuckery. And I'll admit this, guys, because I'm no simp for the police. Is these police think they're goddamn bloodhounds? They think they can smell pot like 50 yards away, and they'll use it as an excuse to search your car, search your home. It's really ridiculous. So I think that just needs to be decriminalized. So that excuse goes out the window. I saw residue, or I saw paraphernalia. Yeah. I saw
unless your backseat is loaded with like 50 bricks of weed that you're obviously trying to sell illegally.
You're
or something
trafficking.
Like that. Yeah, you're trafficking. That'd be one thing. But if you got a bag, you got your own joint in your pocket. No, screw that.
Who
That's
cares?
stupid.
Literally, who cares?
And I don't even smoke weed. I don't care.
Right. It's just a matter of why are we spending our resources on this? Like, this is your money and my money. Like, we're all paying for this shit.
Yeah.
Like, we should not be paying for this. It doesn't make any sense anymore. Not in 2022. Maybe back in the day, but not now. Nikki Poundtown says Muffin Man and Umbrella Guy combined into a manga robot called Megura Pint.
I like that one.
Oh, Megura Pint-san. I got it. I can say that I'm in Asia. Even though I'm in, technically it's probably a hate crime on Japan because I'm in Korea. Just the fact that I'm in Korea, making fun of Japan is a hate crime over here. But they all hate on each other. They're extraordinary. Like, I always laugh when people are like, the United States is so racist. I'm like, you should hear what they say about each other here in Asia. Like, they're not fucking nice. Like, I can't repeat it on YouTube, that level. But anyways, Simple Old Soldier says, do you think TMZ is going this route because this guy is not covered by an NDA? If he was, why not do an emergency order directly against the guy? Exactly. They don't have an NDA. Guess what? That's on them. They fucked up. TMZ fucked up. They should have NDA'd this guy. Or they should have hit him with a severance package and put that in his package.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
This is peak level idiocy. I'm corporate, like I used to represent large corporations. Now I'm kind of more freelance. I do individual projects and stuff. But I was corporate counsel for very large corporations. Everybody did this. In fact, I worked on a merger that pretty much put me out of business. And I had an NDA, right? Like everybody signed the NDA, right? And a non-compete at the same time, right? You have a non-compete for a certain period of time. That's standard. The fact they didn't do that is sloppy. And that's on them and their counsel for fucking up like that. Eric V said, I missed the trial name game yesterday. Here's my entry. The Crossifixion of Amber Heard Nailed on a Cross, starring Camille Vasquez. I like it. And more than that, I see you, bro, with your UNC hoodie. Go Tar Heels. Go Tar Heels. And go to hell, Duke. I love how all the shittiest doctors in this came from Duke. That's like so it's perfect. It's perfect. Joe Everyman says, the Depp trial might look like two rich a-holes fighting flinging a herd turd at each other. But in my mind, this is the best example of the uphill battle men have in family marriage part of the law. What do you guys think about this?
Truth.
Yeah, well, Flash, because here's the thing, man. I hear everybody come to me and a lot of people say on this channel, oh, it's not a gender thing. It's not a gender thing. Like, what do you think about that in terms of like, is this a gender thing? Like, do you think gender when you think of this trial? Like, how do you think of it from that framing?
I think it appeals to both because you have women that are actual survivors of domestic violence. They don't like Amber Heard because she's one of the reasons that a lot of people don't believe them in the first place. Mm-hmm. And then with men, this is the first time you see a man actually be able to fight back against just being like, yeah, he did something to me, and that's it. That's all you need to do. You don't have to provide any evidence. You can just destroy somebody. Now, the family court thing, that's another thing. I mean, yeah, men are completely fucked over there.
Yeah, it's just absolutely done. Flash, you got to bounce, right?
Yeah, I got to go. Got to get up early.
But bro, hey, man, thank you so much, guys. Check out his channel, Yellow Flash, and Flash, anything else you want to plug? I mean, I plug Flashcast. I'll try to make it.
Come on, Flashcast.
I'm going to be traveling this weekend. I'm flying to the U.S. So not this week. The week after, I'll make Flashcast.
Well, that's going to be the big week because we should have a verdict by then, I would hope.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, we hope so.
How long do they have? Is there a time limit?
Technically, no. Technically, they can't rush the jury, but she can technically make them come to court on a Saturday. So we probably don't want him to have to do that, but we'll see. Yeah, I couldn't tell you, man. I couldn't tell you. I mean, like, I think there'll be a verdict by then. I think there'll be a verdict on Friday. I think they're going to do it pretty quick. I think that the jury has made it their mind.
Imagine if they come back after like an hour.
They can come back after 5 minutes.
Oh, that would be so great. And they came out and said, yeah, we go for Johnny Depp. Sorry.
It's a form. They just have to check a box. I mean, frankly, that's pretty much all they have to do there. So there's not much they have to do in terms of like work on the actual form. So they could just check that box real quick, click, guilty, and then damages. And then I guess the biggest thing that I have to do is decide damages. But because honestly, I don't think they're going to get 50 million. I think that's a little high. I think though, if they do find that Amber Heard is liable, I think that maximum they get is 20. And
could they both lose?
No. Yes, technically, yes. So Amber counterclaimed. I've already did a video on this. Her counterclaims are out. She has provided no evidence. There's no fucking way her counterclaims prevail, right? And they have a preposterous theory of damages. So Amber Heard's going to lose on her counterclaims. Johnny Depp could lose on his claim of defamation. So it could be a situation where both of their defamation claims go away. There's a chance. There's a chance.
Oh, hopefully he just wins. But if
yeah,
that were to happen, I mean, even if he loses this, no one believes her. So
exactly, no one believes her, and no one likes her. You know, it's the other thing.
Damage
No one
is
likes her.
done.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's uncanceled. So like, it's the first time I've ever seen that happen.
which
It's gonna it's happening with J.K. Rowling too.
The effort to cancel J.K. Rowling is insane. And here's the other thing too: J.K. Rowling has been a feminist her entire life. And in fact, if anything, you could say she's like even a fervent feminist.
Mhm.
Yep.
She just happens to understand that if you go down this road of saying gender doesn't matter, well, all of those benefits that accrued to benefit women over the years and all those protections, you can frame them as protections, right? Don't even frame them positively, right? All the protections for women, all the advantages to fix the systemic discrimination, that all goes out the window. If I can just say, oh, I'm a woman, so I'm entitled to your women's scholarship. And if you don't give it to me, I can sue you and I'll win under the law if you make this the law. Because all I have to do is say I'm a woman now. And by the way, we're seeing this in California with the prisons where they can say, hey, I'm a woman. Now they're the male prisoners going right into the female prison. And all of a sudden there's kids coming out of prison. There's a need for condoms in the prison.
Yeah, I would say, I'd become a woman if I was going to prison too.
Yeah, the women's prisons are nicer too, and they're cleaner. And you don't get, kind of attacked in the shower. Well, at least not yet. But
And like you said, at least they got rubbers.
at least
I'll
they got
see you
rubber.
guys. See you guys.
See you, Flash. Peace
Take
out,
care,
brother.
Flash. Get some sleep, man.
See you guys.
All right. John Yarber says, call Met, shall meet. Shall meet? Oh, shall meet. Okay. Do you know this Ask Valiant? It's
Sorry. I just looked back over. Chalmette. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, my pronunciation, I'm still going to say, by the way, Zendaya. I know some people are like Zendaya, and I'm like, I don't give a fuck until she tells me to my face it's Zendaya. But Chalmette. Okay.
Yeah. It's an area. It's kind of a suburb of New Orleans. Yeah. Look, don't mess with them Chalmatians, man. They'll kick your ass.
So have you been to a Chalmette strip club?
A Chalmette strip club? No, I have not.
Okay.
I've been to Chalmette many times. I don't know of any particular strip clubs in Chalmette.
He's pleading the fifth on this one, guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to do that.
Lindsay Barter said Lawn Lumber is getting on to talk TMZ. Good for Lawn Lumber. I heard him talk earlier TMZ, and I'm basing a lot of what I'm talking about on what he said about TMZ, what Lawn Lumber said about TMZ. I concur with Lawn Lumber as far as what I heard him say earlier, unless he's changed his opinion. I've concurred with what he said. I think we're in agreement. I think most lawyers are in agreement that they're going to allow this person to testify. So that's generally the sentiment here. So I support him. He's a good guy. Dawa's School of School says, since Tug has been mentioned several times in trial, can Depp do a live stream with Tug once able? That would be fucking epic.
Tug made the offer publicly on Twitter earlier today.
That would be epic.
To Depp and to Waldman.
That would be so epic. It'd be great. I think they want him to testify. TMZ buys the original copy holders, aka the person who took the video, aka Amber. He would know TMZ policy. Yes, exactly, Sugar Angel. And this isn't speculation. If they're worried about it, why would they be worried about it unless you're exactly saying what it is? The chain is going to lead back to Amber. Amber is going to be outed. There's no other reason other than this is going to make Amber look bad, and this is going to make them look bad because they've been standing for Amber. The mainstream media has been standing for Amber this entire time. John Yarber said Amber Heard looked like she was in charge of Auschwitz today. Oof. There's several times where she's looked like a little bit Third Reichy. I'm just going to say.
Yeah.
Tank Rat with the 100, I think it's dinar, right? Emirates Denari, right? Amber Heard dresses like that since she most likely the male with her relationship with Eve. That's very true. She is Amber in her relationship with women. Amber is the dom. Amber is the top, right? In those relationships. Let's be clear. It's also with Io. She is the top. Let's be very clear about that one. Bar Belmont says the LAPD perjury is Waldman taking his binder to LAPD, talking about at the end of his depot with Rottenborn, and list of the people who saw no bruises. Ooh, so he lied to the LAPD. That would be good. That would be a good perjury charge. If he lied to the LAPD.
Okay.
And it'd be interfering with an investigation. Dead girl says, thank you, cutie. No, thank you, cutie. Next, Anita Taylor says, due to time constraints, could Johnny Depp's team have negotiated to shortening the Johnny Depp deposition if allowed to submit? Oh, sorry, Jennifer Howell deposition if allowed to submit? Or no, you cannot just submit documents. That doesn't work. If it's testimony, it needs to come in as spoken testimony. That's the rule because of something in the Constitution called the Confrontation Clause. The Confrontation Clause, very simply, is the right to confront your accusers in court. That's in our Constitution. So if Valiant accuses me of defamation, I have a right to defend myself in court against him, right? And say, no, he's lying. And then you can say, no, he's lying. And you get to pick who you believe. If you're just submitting testimony, you don't get to confront somebody. And part of the confrontation is in court. You're able to see their mannerisms, see how they react, and judge whether they're reliable or not. That's why I hate video testimony. I think it shouldn't be allowed because you're not getting a real natural reaction. Video is not natural. Video can be edited, and video is also just it's removed from the realness of being in real time. It's not the same. We over rely on it, and it's not good. Sarah Huff says, Judge Penny did say, remember when time is up, even if you aren't done. The second she reminded them of their time left. Yes, but here's the thing. Under Virginia law, there are constitutional protections for cross-examination. So I think that they have to give them some time. It doesn't need to be a lot, but they've got to give them some time. Depp versus Heard trial, best comedy, thriller, drama performance. 100% Svetlorza. Svetlorza, right? No, Svetlozada, right? Yeah, Svetlozada. Got it. Man, I got to get my Eastern Europeans names down. I've been to Poland like probably 8-9 times, but they all shorten their name into 3-letter words. So it's like Aga, Ola, Ula, right? So it's very easy for me, and not pronouncing their full names. Matthew says, Valiant, what part of Louisiana are you from? I'm from T-Bone Parish, currently working in Bama. These Roll Tide folks don't much like us LSU fans. That was my.
Grew up in New Orleans, and I know Terrebonne and Lafourche very well. My mother's entire family is from Thibodaux. So.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Yes, that's very, very Louisiana.
Very Cajun.
Dead Girl says Amber Heard is being bankrolled by her homeowner's insurance. Now, I haven't seen the receipts on this one, but yesterday we had somebody who's an insurance adjuster comment, and the adjuster said this would not be covered. And we talked about it. This is not going to be covered by your standard umbrella policy, your standard insurance policy. You would need a bespoke policy from somewhere like a Lloyd's of London, which is a ultra. Where think Jeff Bezos is going to have like a custom policy for his super yacht. Right? That sort of thing. Like
this, the Lloyd's of London policy that covered Marilyn Monroe's legs. Okay. It's that kind of kooky. This, I mean, the homeowners, and I've been an insurance producer for 20 years. I mean, your homeowner's policy is not going to, this is not what it covers. Now, even if you had a personal liability umbrella, like legal said, that is even kind of a little bit more ridiculous. And usually those things have limits to them of like $1 million or something. So it's highly doubtful that she is having this defense covered, at least to any substantial degree, by any kind of insurance. I'd be very surprised.
Yeah.
A lot of this is these attorneys hoping that she can manage to pull this off, win her counterclaim, walk away with 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, $50 million out of Johnny, and they can get paid. I mean, maybe they're taking hourly against contingency. I mean, legal could speak to that much better than I can. But
it's possible, but I really don't think they do. In this trial, a trial like this, you would not do contingency. Like, this is not a contingency type of trial. Like, I would never take contingency for this case. There's got to be a retainer up front. Maybe there's a bonus for an outcome. That's possible. But I'm not banking on it. Not with Amber Heard, and also not with these counsels. I don't think they're going to do that. Can we cast Camille Vasquez as for She-Hulk?
That's what I said. That's
a lot of people simping for Camille, but I'll allow it. She's doing a fantastic job as a lawyer. Toka Shona says, what do you think about the name Actual Malice as a title for potential movie about this trial? Yeah, but I don't think they're showing actual malice in this. There's actually actual malice may be shown in the Project Veritas case against the New York Times. But I think this one needs a funny title. But that's creative though. I do think that's creative. So I'll give you points for that. But technically they're not showing actual malice in this one. Technically, it's not the best case for actual malice. Let's see. The next one was, Tim says pot decriminalized in New Orleans. Violates state law, but when is New Orleans afraid of that? Medical is legal but rare. So that jives right with your expectation, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Base Zoomer says, is it possible that Amber will have to pay $50K in court costs? Possible, but not likely. Possible. That'd be the maximum. Is she has to pay $50K plus court costs. But that would be really, 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 really rough. That would be really rough. I wouldn't put money on it. Jess Go says, oh, what's up, Jess? How fast is Ballard? Oh, Jess, I know you've worked with Ballard. How fast is Ballard running around getting everyone at TMZ down to the janitor signing NDAs? Yeah. Everybody.
Right? Yeah.
They're getting everybody to sign NDAs right now. Fucking 100%. It's stupid not to get them to sign an NDA. Like everybody's going to sign it when you do your employment package, right? You started at a company, right, Valiant? Everybody, right? Remember starting at a company, especially a big company, in the beginning, you get a fat stack of policies and it's like, sign all this. No one reads it. You're just like, okay, I'm signing it. I want the job. I'm going to sign it, right?
Right. It's like an Apple agreement. You just click. Yeah.
Remember did you ever see the South Park episode?
Yes.
Like the
human centipede pad. It was actually on last night.
It won't read the terms. We can't get it to read, you know? But the point is that nobody ever reads that shit. You just get them to sign it and you throw an NDA in there. People are going to sign it. Now, of course, that can get thrown out by a court as like kind of a contract of adhesion, something you're not actually bargaining for. And it's unconscionable. But once again, the impetus is now on the employee to throw it out. And most employees, they see it and they're like, it's not worth fighting. I'll just abide by it. Right. Even if it's not enforceable, most employees just abide by it. Right. Now, some employees, they may take the Chad move and they're like, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyways. Which, by the way, this is not legal advice. But I will just say that it is quite common if you're under a non-compete agreement to just work and then have them come at you, bro. Because your new employer will usually stand up for you too if they did try to do that. And it's not worth it to them to fight.
That's a common occurrence in Louisiana because we have such different and very strict non-compete clauses.
The French law, the civil law crap that
Napoleonic Code.
Napoleonic Code, right?
Well, in Louisiana, you have to be very specific about your non-compete. And I've dealt with this a number of times, especially in the financial planning industry. That is a big thing. And we love it when these national firms come in and they try to put Louisiana agents under these nationally written NDAs. And then they find out too late that they don't fly in a Louisiana court of law. It's freaking beautiful.
Okay. So what I will do is Brendolyn says, I need a hashtag Amber Turd hoodie, please. Okay. So I got the What If Any's here. I've got the Amber Turd mug. I will make the Amber Turd hoodie. It's pretty easy. So I will generate that for you guys. If you have any suggestions on things you want to see, or if you have like art you want to see, you want to send it to me, send it to me. And
I ordered a coffee mug. I
will do it right now. So that is in my description. The link is in my description. It is legalmindset.creator.spring.com. I will post that in the chat actually right now. So it's also in the chat. So you can have that. And get your merch, right? But I will put up a hoodie later, and I will be up before tomorrow. Don't you worry. The grift is strong with this one. Very strong. Coco says, Amber didn't think JP would tell the world. I, Johnny Depp, a man, am a victim of domestic violence. Yes, I really think that Amber Heard thought the fact that he was a man meant he would never say anything about it. And she said that. She said as much, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think she literally said as much that you're a man and no one is going to believe you. And that was to most men, that was the most appalling thing. Sif Happens says, women get the up in family court. I can only speak to, I think, my experience, but my dad worked his way out of family court for years. I'm more likely to say money speaks in family court. Okay. As a general rule in life, money does speak. However, as a general rule, statistically, women tend to come out better in family court. The outcomes tend to trend towards what the expectations of the woman are. Now, you could say that's for a lot of reasons, right? So if it's family court, remember, we could be talking about divorce, we could be talking about custody. And there's a lot of reasons why custody can go in favor of a woman. For example, if the custody fight is over a spouse who may be in jail, or a baby daddy who's in jail or has criminal charges or has some things pending, well, of course it's going to go in the favor of women, right? There's going to be a lot of reasons here. But also you could say, okay, well then men are overcharged and overpunished for crimes. That's a separate argument. But statistically, yes, that is an objective fact that technically men can get the shaft right now in family court. That's a whole separate episode. I'd have to bring on a family lawyer to go into that. However, many men prevail as well. I know men that prevail in family court. I know men that have a lot of money and they prevail. It's possible. The thing is, I'll just say we need equal exploration and investigation of crimes on both sides, and we need equal outcomes for both sides. If two sides are similarly situated, it should not matter what gender they are. If the fact pattern is the same for both of them, the outcome should be the same. So, for example, if a dad has a pot conviction and loses and gets 0% custody, which this is not realistic. I'm just giving you an example. Let's say the custody gets taken away for a pot conviction of a dad. It should happen to a mom, right? If it happens to a mom, it should happen to a dad, vice versa, right? Once again, we should have the same outcomes. Not that that's the actual outcome. I'm just saying we should have the same outcomes. I think that's a just system. And that is what I think our Constitution stands for, is that both genders get the same treatment. I think we all want that. I think that's everybody's dream, is to have that. Sarah Huff says, sorry, follow up, but judges have chance to defy the law, overrules the jury, right? Is that only criminal? Probably won't happen here. I'm just curious. No, so the judges can always, they don't defy the law. They can overrule the jury because they think the jury did something impermissible. So the judge can do that. However, they are very reluctant to do it because otherwise it's not good. It's not a good look for the judge to overrule a jury, because the jury is supposed to be the ultimate finder of fact. It does not look good. So judges do not like to do it. It's very rare. It has to be like an egregious case, like really bad. Like the jury does something that's like impermissible for them to actually do that. Midnight's Edge After Dark says, I talk to the Umbrella Man and he talks to me. Very good. Very good. And Midnight's Edge After Dark would be good to come on in the future. Matthew Self says, my Shah, you got to act more like Jenny Deaf and smooth. The words ought to sound like a kunas. I can't pronounce that. Can you do that? Can you do this? This little bit better?
Shah, you got to act more like Jenny Death and the smooth the words that ought to sound like a kunas. Now, look, for the chat out there, I just want to explain this.
Okay, thank you.
When that word comes up, I want to make sure everybody understands. Kunas is very acceptable, loving Louisiana slang for Cajun. Period. Has nothing to do with skin color or anything else. People out there probably around the way they see that first part of that word and they separate it from the second part of that word and they think it is. My family is half Kunas. Okay, that's Cajun. That is Louisiana slang. We call each other that. It's a very friendly, loving term. That's all it is.
John Yarber says a lot of Rackets, Viva, and Now Your Chat are salty cracker fans. Got whiskey for that Houston thing with Rackets. Party. Yeah, I should be. So I probably am going to make it to Anime Matsuri. I've been thinking about it. So because there's so many people that are going to be there, and it's going to be a good chance for me to meet everybody. So I'm going to try to fly out from Korea just for that. So that should be fun. I'll now have gone out, but if I do that, I'll have literally been in America, taken 4 flights to America in 3 months. So like round trip flights to America in 3 months, which will be fucking great. Immigration is going to look at me like, what are you doing? Like, what drugs are you smuggling? But I'm like, no, trust me, I'm a lawyer. Famous last words, by the way. Tankrat says, dirhams equal AD. Dirhams. Yes. Thank you. Dirhams. Appreciate that, brother. Always like my clarification. The next one we got here, I'll just read the last 4 here off the list because it's scrolling here. Hunch says, cast Camille Vasquez as a female inquisitioner in the upcoming Eisenhorn show, and you'll get her a bunch of simps with money. Okay. Sith Happen says, roll tide with elephant emojis. Jared says, Camille simp here. I need a woman like that to argue with waiters when they bring me the wrong food. Lean says, what about the line, Mr. Waldman speaks the truth to that umbrella guy? With the response, that sounds like schizophrenia. That would be a great hoodie. Honestly, though, I feel like Tug needs to make that one. I don't want to take anything from Tug. Like, give Tug the Tug credit. Like, he deserves it. He owns it. So I'll tell Tug, but he can make the grift off.
Oh,
that.
Tug! If Tug isn't squirreling up a bunch of new merch tonight, he's way too tired. He needs to get some sleep because he needs to do that.
I want to. Oh, this is a great one. I want a shirt that says $3 million and 1 million alpacas.
Or 100 alpacas. What was it? 1 million?
Was it 100 or 1 million? Chat. Was it 100 alpacas or 1 million alpacas?
I don't remember.
Tell me right now. Is it 100 or 1 million alpacas in the chat? I need to know.
Get that 10-second StreamYard delay. They'll start streaming in. Hang on a second.
Yeah, we'll do it right now. We'll do it right now. I'm gonna see like spam in the chat. Was it
1 million alpacas? Okay.
It was one. Wait, no.
Wait.
1 million. There's one person that's at 100. Okay, no, everybody else is a million, brah.
Okay.
Okay.
I've heard different versions. I truly don't remember.
Million.
I knew it was
Okay,
like $1 million and 100 alpacas, or $100 and 1 million alpacas. It was something like that. But,
yeah. Okay. See, people are saying 100 now too, but we'll see.
okay.
All right. So that being said, guys, hey, so Valiant, do you have anything you're looking forward to tomorrow on tomorrow's day of trial?
I don't know who's on the witness list for tomorrow, at least as far as confirmed. I mean, I know that people are talking about, or at least, theorizing that Depp is going to be called back. He might not. I'm assuming he would be at this point. I mean, I'm sure his team would like to get him back up there to specifically answer some of these things that have come up since he's been on the stand. But I suspect that they're going to try to burn more of the Heard team time at this point before they stick him up. Like, they want to put Johnny up there with Heard's team having the minimal amount of cross time available just to stick it in their ass. So I don't know. I don't know what the witness list is going to look like. I'm just looking forward at this point to seeing more of the chaos in general.
Well, it's Wednesday, so they're gonna have they're not gonna. It's not their finisher, right? I think you finished with Johnny Depp, so I do not think we see Depp tomorrow. Right, so we don't see Depp tomorrow.
Maybe call him at the end of the day if they run out of other shit to do.
No, Thursday. Let him get let Johnny Depp get the last word.
Okay.
I think that is that'll be the most beautiful thing in this trial.
No, but I guess would they start on him tomorrow and then continue into Thursday with him?
No. Okay. You don't need him, because remember, for the rebuttal, you only get to counter what they brought up on their side. So he's not just going to get to let loose, although he's going to have a lot to talk about. I think the most they can get out of him is a half a day. With what they said to counter, because it's just specifically to counter.
So tomorrow would effectively be the calm before the storm.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think Thursday is the nuke. I think for the worst stuff, Dr. Curry for sure, and I think Johnny Depp on Thursday.
Okay.
They need the strongest stuff to finish.
The blonde psychiatrist from the
yes. Hottie blonde psychiatrist. She's gonna.
The jury loved her,
and the jury will be loving more on Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay, so there were two things. One was $5 from Tocho, which says if Trump and Satan consumed their hatred, it would result in a little Amber Heard. She is that evil. And then the last one here, which I was asked, was can you talk about the Bruce Kit photo? I've showed this before, but because I love you guys and I am definitely like I stand for you guys, I will show it. So this is a photo. There's a lot of different photos here. Right, but one of the photos is the Bruce Kit. So allegedly, this thing down here is a Bruce Kit. But some people say it could be just paper with markings on it. It's not clear it's a Bruce Kit, or whether it is or isn't a Bruce Kit. They don't know what that is. So
I will say that the color tones in there, as somebody that does a lot of photography on the side and that has, colorimeters for monitors and things like this, you sync up with that looks. And I've been around theater a long time. Those are the tones that you would use in a Bruce Kit.
So there are people who've pulled photos of Bruce Kits and they have, like you said, the same tones.
Yeah.
However, we're not going to get to examine that evidence, right? We're not going to be like, okay, we now pull in the evidence of the exact Bruce Kit. We don't have that. So whether or not it is kind of a little bit immaterial. You could ask Amber Heard about it, but she's going to fucking lie about it. So what's the point in asking her if she's just going to lie about it? But you know what? We, the public, are seeing it and we know. And in the court of public opinion, that is where the victory is very important against Amber Heard. So if anything, you can spread the message around and say, look, we see through your shit, Amber Heard. We know this isn't admissible in court, but we see your bullshit and we're calling you on, which is, I think, what we all need to do in this case. But Valiant, man, listen, you've been with me all day. I just want to say, man, appreciate it. You really have been a soldier. Thank you so much, guys. Valiant, his information is going to be in the description. So check that out. Click it. In fact, let me just make sure it's put it in the right way. Joined by @Valiant.
Yeah, I think officially, I made a joke when we started. I think in the last 24 hours, I've been here at least 7 of them, including, this morning at 4:30 a.m. my time. What the hell was I doing?
You are insane. I mean, I'll send you the invite again if you happen to mistakenly be up. But like,
oh god, I do have to run a kid to school early again tomorrow. So if I'm not there at 4:30, if I have a little bit of time before I have to jet, I will try to swing in and just I will probably be trying to suck down coffee to where I don't look like a pile of ass when I get on here in the morning at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, sure.
Yeah. Sherry Baker said Trump is a good man. He is America first, is the left who push the evil and make liars like Amber Heard so they won't sit silent to that. One thing I can say, guys, is this doesn't need to be a left-right issue, right? And I would, the one thing I love about this is if we can make this a non-left-right issue. A lot of the people on the far left, what I call like the super woke left, the SJW left, they want to make this into a political issue. This does not need to be a political issue. I am on favor of depoliticizing issues. This should not be political. This should be an unpolitical topic. I'm for depoliticizing this topic. Let me be very clear about this, right? But the problem is that when I say make this non-political, Vox and Vogue and New York Post, which by the way, New York Post is a Rupert Murdoch owned periodical. So that's a conservative, right? They're all saying the same shit. They're all pro-Heard. They're all pro-agenda. And they're saying you're a far-right Russian misogynist bot. It's not us who's saying that. I'm not calling them bots. They're very real people. They just have horrible intentions. And they're seeking to divide us. I love that people are coming at this and people are watching from all different political backgrounds. That is fantastic. And hopefully you guys can come together and we can depoliticize this. Last one, Daniel says, if Depp and Heard had an NDA after their divorce, did Amber break that when she disclosed any details, no matter how small the ACLU? No, there's not really anything that's gonna survive that. Plus, in something of this magnitude with defamation involved, the defamation is going to trump here. So I think if someone defames you, you can break an NDA. So like if they defamed you, so the point is whoever defamed who is going to be the one who's liable here ultimately. So the defamation would have avoided an NDA. Okay, that being said, Valiant, thank you so much. Guys, get some sleep, be prepared. I'm going to bed, and I will catch you at 6 p.m. my time, which is going to be early as hell in the morning. Otherwise, you can catch me in the evening. I will catch you later. Stick around.